All right, let's get this going. Let's see here. Can I close this? That is the real question here. If I can close this, that would be awesome. That might actually save me some space here. I'm gonna ask. Can you close the YouTube live stream window? What happens if I close my web browser while live streaming? That's the question I want to know. And the stream won't end if you close the windows. Okay. Okay, thank God. So maybe that could probably help with like the stability of all this stuff. Seems like I'm still streaming, hopefully. All right. Let's see if it works. Yes, 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 yes. Live stream? Yeah, it's going on right now. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure because I was trying to find ways to make my Firefox browser not drain so much CPU. Like, I know it's probably ecomi.wiki, but I was trying to find some alternative ways. And apparently I watched a YouTube video that like made me delete my user account, create a new one, and it said, "You are live." I'm indeed live. Thanks, Jack Fraser. Fraser. And it deleted, it said to not delete my files. So I was like, cool, I'll probably save my bookmarks, all that stuff. When I went back to Firefox, everything was deleted. Like it was a fresh new account. So I'm like, literally lost all my bookmarks, all my stuff. So I had to relog back in. So like I would have streamed probably 30 minutes ago, but I had to deal with that and I'm re-downloading stuff. Like re-download like some extensions and all that. So it's a little bit annoying, but you know, it is what it is. We roll with the punches around here, so. I'll be honest, I haven't looked too closely at the market update for the most part. Like, sorry, let me close some things here on my phone. Haven't looked too closely at like the market update stuff. Like, there's been some movement on the market. There's some purchase that I made pretty recently that like I don't necessarily regret. Like, I definitely know they're gonna do well. Like, I ended up purchasing 2 days ago, or maybe the day before, a rare Spider-Man, because that was a really good deal back not too long ago. I mean, it was going for like 1,400. This was before the Batman drop. And waited until after the Batman drop and ended up picking it up for like 1,600 instead. So I ended up paying like an extra 150 gems, which is fine. So this one's doing really well. Like I said before, I've telling everyone like, dude, this thing has history of going above 2,000 as well as touching 2,400 like multiple times. Of course, the listings is a bit weary. It's at a, you know, it's not an all-time high, but it's all-time high is back here. But like, I don't really look at these listings like the first few days of like when something's first listed, just because I don't know, it's not technically, I think this is also riding off the wave of Disney Gold moment. So this is kind of an anomaly time. I kind of look at pretty much the beginning of November to here. So it's kind of reaching the point where it's almost at an all-time high for listings because people are just taking profits. I think people are getting ready for Pokemon potentially, or whatever it is. Like it's highly speculative at the end of the day, but it's highly speculative at the end of the day. But so I got this, so it's a good purchase. Like I'm already up, what, 150 gems, which I'm very confident this will go well over 2.2K or whatever. I think people are really waiting on the Minnie Mouse announcement as well as whatever could happen in February. Also wanted to type in Joker. That was the other one I bought. So basically I had an opportunity to basically buy, I had, let's just say 3,200 gems, 3,300 gems. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna buy a rare Spider-Man. Like, should I just get two or should I get one of that and one of something else? And so the one of something else was Joker. I ended up buying one Joker at 1650, like almost identical price as the rare Spider-Man. I was like, you know, I'm gonna try it out, just see what happens. I figured Joker would be a slower rise than Spider-Man. Like I figured Spider-Man would rise very quickly. Joker's kind of on the same page. Like it's hit 2K prior. Obviously its peak didn't hit as high as Spider-Man. I was like, let me give it a shot. I do think Joker's like extremely undervalued for where he's at right now. Like I know I've said before multiple times, like I'm not a huge fan of that term, just like, oh, just undervalued and like that's it. But yeah, like I do like Joker right now, like even better now. Like he's down 100 gems. Like I'm not concerned at all whatsoever. Like I'm just gonna ride the wave. I know he's gonna be profitable. Like he's an FA and all that stuff. But yeah, it's kind of hurting a bit that the fact that he did go down 100 gems, and like there seems to be a lot of market hesitation, I think, kind of around Minnie Mouse. And like I just don't see, like, even if Minnie Mouse was not that big of a deal, like it's like a poster or like a card series or whatever it is, I just don't see this holding pattern happening for like a whole another month all the way through February. Because if the Veve user base has told you anything, like they want something to do like every day. And if there's not a lot of action or not a lot of announcements or anything going on, like they just start buying stuff. Like if there's no news, the market just kind of starts getting pumped. At least that's kind of what I noticed between 12 days of Veve all the way up until a few weeks ago, you know, or like last week or something, up until they announced Batman. Basically, like Batman was the first time like there was actually a dip since December for the most part. So yeah, so we'll see about that. I kind of want to take a look at the highest gross top gainers over the last hour or so. Selena, okay, I think Unicornos, I think so. Right now what's happening, and I kind of like, part of me wishes I kind of capitalized on this. There's been a big push, I would say the last 2 days, 3 days. People have been talking about it for a while, and myself as well as like Randy aren't very bullish on the whole master collector points. I do think people are collecting or basically trying to finish sets, or just getting very, very cheap, inexpensive collectibles and or comics. So I could definitely imagine that for the top gainers, like if we look at comics really quick, and I'm kind of switching gears here, a lot of like the strangely like ultra rares and rares, like those ones are actually getting pumped a lot because those gives you really, really high returns when it comes to like master collector points. So I do think like the ultra rare is more money up front, but it might be a better investment long term, just because those prices can increase much quicker than like the rares, which is why you see a lot of high-end stuff. Plus secret rares and ultra rares just have more room to move. Like when you look at top gainers, it's based off percentage, I would assume. I think it is. It seems like it's based off percentage. But yeah, you're seeing a lot of like comics that were very undervalued, like hugging around like the $20 mark. Like now they're all moving up to 30, 35. Like these are the commons, right? I think people are just trying to stack these for the Master Collector program, even though from what I've researched or I've seen off of a site called, oh my gosh, I texted it to a friend earlier today. I'll find it eventually. Or if someone asks, like I'll give it to them. Or it gives you a breakdown of like, what's the best Master Collector point ratio, like per dollar per Master Collector point, like what's the best things to get? And it seems like by far and away for right now is rare comics, because it gives you 2 points. A lot of them are going, jeez, I remember a lot of them were going for like 40 to like 60 gems weeks ago, and now they're all going for like 75 plus. Like you're really hard pressed to find a rare under 75, 80 gems. It's still better than anything else, like Master Collector points wise, but I do see people stacking those right now, which is kind of funny. I'm not seeing a lot of rares in this like top gainers thing. I would, at least in my mind, I would imagine like people are stacking rares, but like the prices aren't going up. So you do get diminishing returns on rares, I believe. After the second one, or after the first one, you get half as many points, and after the third, you get a third as many. I'm not entirely certain. I probably should pull that chart up. That actually shows like the Master Collector points. But I think there's a certain point where like maybe after you buy 2 rares, you're better off just getting uncommons, because Master Collector point per dollar, like that's just what's better after that scenario. So go ahead and back to the top gainers again. Wanderers is still, I think it's still riding off the pump from yesterday. I think it actually might be a little bit down. No, it's okay. Maybe I'm thinking of a different one, because yeah, she's still just going up. Like I thought she would go up, and like she's actually dipped down like $50, and like it still says she's going up. But yeah, like she's done very, very well. Avengers logo seems like golden moments are seeing some movement. Rise of Ultraman, I don't know, like, jeez. It's probably, like, Ultraman is something I'm not very knowledgeable about, and on top of that, like, it's a poster too. Like, I'm definitely more, are you interested with unicornos? Not exactly Dafa Alif, Alafarsi. Dude, I'm butchering your name. I'm just gonna call you Dafa. Dafa, not really, like, part of me, like, I'll be honest, I'm getting a little bit of FOMO when it comes to like stacking master collector points, because like technically you could probably get a good chunk of master collector points if you just threw like 300 gems at, you know, a handful of rares. Maybe you finish like a collection for the collectibles. Like, I still think based off that website I saw prior, if you guys haven't checked it out, you should. Let me see if I can find it. I texted it to my friend. I'm like, dude, have you seen this website? It's actually pretty cool. It tells you like dollar for dollar what's the best, or like dollar per master collector point, like what's the best site. VeveSetlist.com. Maybe I can actually pull it up here. Veve Setlist. I can show you guys really quick. VeveSetlist.com. It's actually really cool. Part of me is almost kind of like FOMOing into it a little bit. Like, gosh, like maybe I should get some master collector points. Like, I've been pretty, I haven't really cared too much about like master collector points. I'm like, you're gonna be competing with whales. People are gonna be stacking them like no other. But even if you can finish just like 2 or 3 sets, or even if you have like a small handful of like rares, you're probably gonna be like in the top 10 or 15% of like people that earn master collector points just passively in the background, right? Of course, you get points per day, just from doing interactions like liking posts and you know, putting stuff up on the feed and all that. So you can actually see right here, kind of want to make sure you guys can see. Let me zoom in one more. Might be a little bit easier to see. Maybe if I move my dumb head over, move my dumb head over here. All right, let's go ahead and switch over this side. Yeah, we don't care about the drop date. So if we look over here, you can actually see, so for the collectibles, and I believe this is pricing it if you buy the entire set, because I think that's the goal of the collectibles for the most part. Like, you do get a big bonus. You get a 100 master collector point bonus for collecting the set the first time, and then you're done. You don't get that passively over and over. So you get like a 100 gem bonus, you're done. You can sell the set, collect a different one, like whatever you want to do. But it seems like so far the cheapest set is the Saint Nick like stamp collection. So it's $50 per master collector point, and it's 8.5 or 8.75 points total with that. And then the next cheapest one is the season 2 Mermacorno set. You get 19 master collector points for $54 per point, which is very, very good. It does cost 1,000 gems, at least floor price. I'm not sure how accurate this floor price is. Like, I don't know if this is taking a snapshot of what happened like last week or this week. Like, I haven't really looked that closely into like the Mermacorno set. So yeah, this is a pretty cool site, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the comics. The comics, I think, is going to get you like the best bang for your buck, because if we organize it here, it's showing all the Strange Academy stuff. It's pricing everything at $7 because it's not released yet. But if we look below that, all of these, we have Ultimate Fantastic Four, Ultimates #1, Daredevil 131, Amazing Spider-Man 294, Weapon Spider-Man. So like all these are like pretty like mid to like lowish tier comics that not a lot of people are very like bullish on. But because of that, they're cheap, or like the comics were cheap, and people were just buying them up just strictly for the master collector points. So it's kind of interesting how, I don't want to say they're artificially getting pumped or like propped up by this program, because like, are there really going to be like comic book collectors out there like trying to pay this kind of money for a rare? Like, maybe I could be completely wrong. Maybe if it has like a Veve exclusive cover, like that could be really cool. But for 2 points, it's only $36 per point if you collect a rare. Like I mentioned before, there is diminishing returns with the rares, ultra rares, and like secret rares. So I think after the first one, you get half as much, and then after that, you get a quarter, however it works out. So it might be best to like get 2 rares, and then you start stacking like the uncommons. I think the uncommons give you half a point, and the commons give you a quarter of a point. So at that point, you're probably better off getting uncommons, even though like the points are higher. It's, you know, you're getting diminishing returns with the rares for the most part. So let me post this, and I can post this in chat really quick. It's gonna say comics, but you can switch between the two, obviously. So cool, let's do that. I'll just close that. So if you guys want to check out that site, bookmark it, whatever, it's actually a pretty cool site if you care about Master Collector Program. Not very bullish audit myself, but I could definitely see it playing a role. I'm kind of curious to see. I'm not sure if they've even like completely finalized the Master Collector program just yet, but is Harley Quinn black, white, red worth it? Says Panop Lenny. I'm just gonna call you Lenny because you put that in brackets, I'm assuming. Lenny at 170. What are your thoughts on Voltron? Let me get the Harley really quick. Black, white, and red. Sometimes I get that confused because we're on collectible top gainers. Sometimes I do get that confused a little bit with the Bombshell series of Harley, which I think is the one where she's like holding a hammer. Yeah, the Bombshell. Sometimes I get that because she's wearing like mostly red and stuff. But let's see, black, white, and red. There's like 4 different ones. I think you mean this one, right? Number 11. I'm assuming you mean the number 11 because she's at 170. The other ones aren't. So let's pull that up really quick. Take a look at some of the price action stuff. I think it's a pretty solid. Of course, it would have been better back at 130. At 169, not entirely sure. Like, I like where she's at. Like, she obviously has some room. Like, she has another like 60 gems to go based off of this, like that she could also recover from. Interesting thing is like the total listings haven't moved a ton, at least based off this. Like 220 is pretty high. She's gotten the listings down to 211. It seems like people right now are just trying to take profits. That's pretty much happening across the board right now. It's like people are just trying to take profits and secure some gems because like no one has any idea of what's going to happen with Minnie Mouse. I think if it's just her, it's not that big of a deal. But if there's going to be multiple FAs of Minnie Mouse as well as Goofy and Donald Duck and like whatever else, like we could definitely see a pretty steep dip in the market because that's another like Disney exclusive thing. I don't mind Harley at like 169 if she pushes up to like 2 something. I kind of like and that's another thing that's another thing I wanted to kind of go over the stream myself is try to find like new NFTs to recommend. I do find myself kind of recommending the same ones like over and over and over, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially since right now like the market is dipping. Like I don't know, like personally, like I would almost rather get like a common Deadpool, or if you have the money, maybe get like an uncommon Deadpool. I think those ceilings went higher, right? I could have sworn like this went up to 180. Okay, maybe not. So like the Deadpool, let's see here. So that'd be like my recommendation. Like I like Harley for where she's at, like but I would kind of prefer stacking. That would be good. DC collectible under 200. I think that's pretty good. Chavez raid rigged. Hey, hi. What's up, guys? Veve vibes and the Veve fam. Chavez raid. The comics are killer as the comic collector. I want every one of them. My opinion is most of the comic collectors don't even know that these exist. I pull folks all the time and nearly all of them are unaware. Exactly, dude. Dude, that's awesome, dude. Look at all the gators in here. Shake and bake. Shake and bake. Alex Morales. Thanks, Randy, for the raid, dude. Yeah, dude, I was gonna stream like 30 minutes ago, and then I was like, something I have noticed is like the ecomi wiki site like can lag your computer quite a bit and like kind of like choke up the stream. I should probably move my camera too. I forgot I left it here. Usually I put it down here in this corner. I ended up, like, long story short, ended up deleting like my user account for Firefox and like deleted all my bookmarks and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god. So I had to like relog in everything, re-download like these extensions and stuff to like make everything work. So, but I'm good now. So I appreciate the raid, everyone. God, so many people and names and things going on. Resale, Shake and Bake, James Kelly, Timothy, Lamattery. I could have butchered that. Tylo, Kai Cox, I think. More Shake and Bake. Milham, Timothy, what's up, dude? Zach, Diggy Diggs, what's up, guys? Ricky Britt, what's up, guys? Chavez, hit the like button, indeed. Randy is king. Randy is king. I was a definitely good investment. I invested like a healthy amount of Alligator Lokis to Randy's army in order to get on his wall. So I'm stoked to kind of do that. We're gonna go ahead and do a quick refresh here, like on the page. But if you guys have any questions, like this is what I do. Like I just field questions. If you guys want to do a comparative analysis between like two different NFTs, what NFT should I buy for under 1,000, stuff like that. I still kind of need to catch up on the market because there has been some movement. Things are starting to sell off a bit. People are trying to take profits in various areas like on the platform. So like I kind of need to catch up. I haven't spent that much time on like ecomi wiki between yesterday and today. So hey man, what's your take on common alligator Loki? Dude, buy them all. Buy them all. Buy all the alligator Lokis. And I'm not saying that just to shill for like Randy or anything like that, but like I shit you not. Like I also try not to cuss on stream. I apologize. I'm just excited right now. So Alligator Loki, we're gonna go ahead and look at the common. So common, it's actually gone down a bit. When I bought these for Randy's thing, I paid 100 each, and I could have waited a few more days, but it's still worthwhile. I don't mind. So the Alligator Lokis have had a history of being all the way up to 130 at one point. I don't really pay attention too much to like the previously sold, like the little hashtag or like the checkered mark yellow thing here, but the total listings were down to 180. Seems like right now obviously people are taking profits, it's going up and down, but like this thing has some room. And I think just the fact that like Alligator Loki has proven that it could basically reach almost 100 gems and has actually touched 130 for a brief moment means that we probably have a lot of people holding between 78 and all the way up to 130 that I would hope are willing to hold and not sell off for a loss, just because Minnie Mouse or whatever could be announced here soon as well. But like again, like these are the ones I recommended to everyone. It's like common Alligator Loki, rare Spider-Man. I think FA Joker is like a complete steal right now because that thing is still like, I think it's at 1,500 right now. And that thing was at what, 2,300? No, was at 2,000 like 4 days ago. So of course these are more like, I think we're gonna have to really ride the wave of like next month where everyone's waiting on Minnie Mouse. Like, could that be just Minnie Mouse, or is it like FA Minnie Mouse alongside like FA Goofy, FA Donald Duck? Could there be like Pluto? Like if they introduce a lot of other Disney characters like all in one set or like one drop, we can see a significant dip in the market because people aren't just going to want Minnie, they're going to want all the other like FAs as well, right? So even if it's like a poster, it's technically an FA. So no one knows what's going to happen with it. Could they be posters, cards, or actual 3D NFTs? No one knows. So I think everyone's kind of like in a holding pattern on the market right now. But I think Alligator Loki's is one of the most solid, like if you guys are going to stack, it's probably one of the most solid stacks you could do. And again, I'm not just trying to like shill for Randy or anything like that, but like I legitimately, like this thing has history of, it still has an extra, what, $60 to go, $50 to go to like reach its old price. FA Joker, I mentioned this before, so if we look at Joker really quick, he's at 1525. I had like 3,300 gems the other day, more than that, but that was how much I was willing to invest. I ended up buying a rare Spider-Man, and I was like, should I just buy 2 rare Spider-Mans? I'm like, you know what? I've been talking a lot about Joker. I better at the very least put my money where my mouth is. I already have another Joker too, so I basically ended up doubling up. Bought one at like 1,600 yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, shortly after the Batman drop. And so right now it's at 1,525, and like this thing, it touched 2,000 prior, and I've released a video before too. Like I think people are really sleeping on the villains because, in case you guys didn't know, with all the Batmans, I'll just type them up really here. So here's how many Batmans there are. There's a lot of Batmans. Oops, got a little crash there, figures. That happens occasionally, especially when you do that. Long story short, I did a video saying that like there's 59,000 Batman mints overall, not including Batman Who Laughs, because he's a villain, but he's also like not fighting Batman, so I didn't consider him like technically a villain to Batman directly. But there's 59,000 Batmans. There's only 11,000 Jokers on the platform. Like all of Veve, there's only 11,000 Jokers. And arguably, I would say Joker is not just the most recognizable villain of like just DC, like most recognizable villain of like all time. MCU really pushed Thanos, so I think more people might know Thanos. Like, but like if we're talking just like 5-10 years ago, like Joker was like the #1 thing, and like there's been multiple movies of Batman versus Joker in like the last like 10 or 15 years. So I do think like Joker is very underrated. I think he could, for 1,500, I think he's at a steal. And again, he's got another 500 gems to move. And if any of the other like black and white series, and that's something I've learned, is sometimes a lot of the black and white series, maybe not so much the Batmans just because there's so many of them, but like they're all kind of tied together. So at least people put eyes on the black and white series when like Todd pumps, Rizzo pumps, maybe even some of the bad guys and stuff. So I'm pretty bullish on Joker as well. I like Harley as well. But let me go ahead and catch up with chat here. Lenny says, is Steve Rogers good for what, 180? Let's see. Steve Rogers. Let's check him out really quick. So he's down a bit. I think people are very bullish about the fact that like you could fight him in the Veve verse and all that stuff. I'm not very bullish on like a lot of Veve verse stuff, to be quite honest, other than like real estate. Like that's huge, but like people are like, oh, you can run on hoverboards and drive the cars. Like that would be awesome. I just don't see that level of integration of like NFTs and all that stuff until like 2024, like at the earliest. And like a lot of things can happen between now and then. Like, you know, people talk about hodling long term, and until something big shows up, like Pokemon or I don't know, Dragon Ball Z, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, like I'm gonna hold all this long term. Like, oh god, Star Wars is next week. Yeah, I'm gonna sell all this stuff. Like people definitely do that. So at 180, the listings are pretty high right now. Like we would have to like look at the wall really quick of like, I could probably pull it up on my phone really quick, but like not entirely certain how I feel about, not very bullish on just like the Marvel Midas in general. Like I probably should be, just because there's a lot of hype around it. I know Cody Thrive has talked about it prior about like Marvel Midas could do very, very well. He likes the FAs a lot and stuff like that. So we can actually pull it up here really quick. Marvel Mighties. I also probably should do this. Give me a sec here. I feel like I shouldn't take this long per question because there's like a million. Like I don't think I've had this many people like in my stream before, but we can go ahead and pull this up really quick. So there's our boys, Steve Rogers. We'll go ahead and take a look at the floor really quick. He's got some movement. Like he definitely has some room to move. He's only 20 gems. Like so on the same page, there's a 20 gem movement. But again, like we're definitely in like in a region where like people are just taking profits. My most recent video, if you guys haven't checked it out, you should. Like the 3 reasons why certain NFTs just dip really hard. Like some NFTs just dip harder than others when it comes to when dips happen. Like I've noticed that NFTs that are below like 200 or 300 gems dip really hard because people are just trying to get enough gems for the next drop, right? Typically. So if the drop is 60 gems, 80 gems, or in this case, like the Batman one, 120 gems, people are selling NFTs that are just below like 200 gems because they just want to sell that NFT and just have enough for the drop, right? Steve Rogers tends to fit that bill right now, even though he is like DC's and he's like an Marvel, he's like an FA. He's like a Marvel Mighties, like not like a legit 3D version like his Captain America like counterpart. So I found that like NFTs that are below 200-300 gems are very susceptible to like hard dips. Because again, people are just trying to get enough gems for the drop. Things that aren't DC, Marvel, or Disney, very susceptible to like, I mean, everything dips when it happens, but like those are most susceptible to like harder dips. Because again, like if you have Cryptkins and Myrmicornos and you have that alongside Steve Rogers and some other NFTs, like you're going to sell the Cryptkins and something like that instead. Like you're not going to sell, you know, your Batgirl or something like that. Like if you have decon stuff to sell, like you're probably going to get rid of that first, like to be honest. And the other point too is like also if your stuff is recently pumped too, like if it's recently pumped pretty well and now it's just people are just in a sell-off pattern as well. So Steve Rogers, like right now, like I mean at the end of the day, dude, like you can honestly at this point, especially with like things are dipping, like you could kind of just throw money at anything, like as long as you're just like not going to sell it in like 6 months, like you could probably just make profit. So I hope that kind of answered your question, but like for 180 gems, I think I would rather get like 3 Alligator Lokis, to be honest, or I would get something like an uncommon Deadpool as well as an Alligator Loki, or where are the snow globes at? That's if you like want to do stacking or something along those lines. Like yeah, like the uncommon. Like I'm very bullish about like the uncommon versions of stuff. Like they're so overlooked. There's less mints. Some of them in some cases actually look cooler than like the normal one. Coca-Cola snow globe, like bear is probably a different scenario just because it's so iconic. But yeah, let me catch up with chat. Put some respect on his name. Put some respect. Man, talk to me about comics, dude. I wish I could. You need to go to comics and crypto and or sleeping in comics. Like they know their stuff. Like You should go to vvrank.com. I'll type it in right here. Like, I think it's just vvrank.com. I think that's it. It's like VV Rank or VV Ranked. That's Sleeping in Comics' website. He has a tier list of like the NFTs or like the comics that he rates the highest. Like that's a pretty good guide to follow. If you're just trying to do master collector point stuff, we actually just showed this on stream earlier. I just did this one earlier. It's, I think I passed it. vvsetlist.com. vvsetlist.com. That's a good one too if you want to see like which comics and or which collectibles give you the most like bang for your buck for master collector points. Like I think initially it was season 2 Mermacornos. The Christmas stamps give you like the high, like that's assuming you're completing the set. That's what the kind of the list is assuming. If you go with comics, it just rares first. They give you the most points. So I wish I could talk to you more about comics, dude. Like I wish I could help you out, but I just don't know enough. Loki versus Spider-Man analysis, please. In what terms? Those are in some ways kind of two sides of the same coin, but like you can legitimately never go wrong with Spider-Man. Like obviously like the cheapest Spider-Man right now I think is Zombie Hunter Spider-Man at like 320. Is it better to get a Zombie Hunter Spider-Man or is it better to get like multiple Lokis, like either the commons or I'm not even sure how much the ultra rare is? That's kind of a good debate. Is it Zombie Hunter Spider-Man or Alligator Loki? Zombie Hunter Spider-Man was like he touched almost 500 like 5 days ago or so. I'd probably still say Alligator Loki. I'd probably still say Zombie Hunter Spider-Man, to be honest. I will say like the one benefit of Alligator Loki as well as like something like Little Friends Apes is like there is a community behind it. There are people backing it. People talk about it a lot. So like there's a lot of power to that. I think people do underestimate sometimes the power of like a community, and like if people rally behind a cause or like hodl and all that stuff, like it could do very, very well. I still need to get a secret rare Alligator Loki. It's just hard now because now it's 2,500 gems. But yeah. Let's see here. What's next? Captain Carter, a good buy right now. I think we kind of covered that a little bit. Captain Carter. Honestly, I haven't really looked at her too much. For 300 gems, she did. Woof. I really think she's just part. I think that's a synthetic pump with some content creators and people just talking about Veveverse and fighting games and all that stuff, but like nothing's official. And like, I always, you know, I love the VV community, and sometimes on these like AMAs, people ask questions like, you know, hey, is there going to be a fighting game? And like, can my car fly? And you know, the VV or the ecomi people are like, yeah, sure. Like, why not? Like, we'll implement it eventually. It could take 2 years, 10 years, but eventually it'll happen. But like the whole fighting game thing, like I'm sure it might happen, like who knows? But I don't like buying off of speculation of something that might happen in the VV-verse like 3 years from now, right? Unless Niantic has been working on it for the last 3 years, and it could be a little bit sooner than expected, but I like where she's at now, 300, like maybe, but I think you're just better off getting like something like potentially like Robin, which I think fits. He's a FA in this price range. Robin, he's about 300 as well. Probably a little bit more bullish on him just because he's actually had times where he's actually peaked up above 300 multiple times. He hasn't hit 400 like Captain Carter, but he has a history of like people wanting it, and it's actually picking back up. Like it seems like Captain Carter like peaked, went down, and like never really just recovered. But it seems like he's plateauing pretty. Robin's plateauing pretty well. So I kind of like the FA Robin. Like if you're really gung-ho about spending just 300 gems, I think Mira is pretty good too. She's at 250. She's all right. Like I'd probably go with Robin again. Like this is typically what I ask is like when someone asks like, oh, I have 1,000 gems. What should I buy? It's like, all right, are you looking to stack? Are you looking to just get one expensive or, you know, spend all the gems on one NFT? Mira's doing okay. I'd probably still suggest Robin over that, but like people are taking some hard profits on Mira. Or Mara, sorry if I'm like butchering her name, but Yeah, I would usually give a little bit more like in-depth analysis, but I know you guys, there's quite a lot of you in here, and there's already like a bunch of questions. So Loki is king of Veve. Yes, indeed. What are your thoughts on the golden moments? Dude, they're awesome. It's funny because 2 weeks ago, my tier list for golden moments would have went Walt, Sorcerer's Hat, Elsa, and like Iron Man. I know Iron Man, like this isn't just like price wise, but I thought like potential wise, that could do the best. I'd probably put R2D2 and C3PO like on par with Iron Man, because like Iron Man is a big deal. He's been in multiple movies, the MCU. He's the leader of the Avengers. I mean, he's the dude that actually snapped the finger of the Infinity Gauntlet and just like ended the whole conflict. He's probably one of my favorite superheroes. I like him more than Batman. Not like the NFT version, but like just the comic book or like TV show version. Like I do like him more than Batman, even though they're kind of like the two sides of the same coin. That's just me personally. Yeah, so that was kind of like my tier list, and like Homer and Bart and Pizza Planet Truck and Skateboard and all that stuff is on the lower end. I think Homer, if the right crowd comes in, he could probably hit that like mid-tier mark of like the golden moments. But now since everything's changed, like everything kind of flipped on its head. Now it's like Walt and Mickey, then it went like R2D2, C3PO, Elsa, and like Iron Man are all in the same tier. I think Elsa's undervalued. I think Iron Man is a bit undervalued. Same thing with C3PO. Like, I think they should all be a bit higher, but again, people are just waiting on announcements. I think people are going to be pretty hesitant up until the end of February to see what's really going on. Up until, you know, February 27th. Like, if we don't get an announcement by February 25th, I'm expecting the market to rocket pretty hard, because like, all right, if there was an announcement on February 27th, Veve would have done it by the 25th, or at least, you know, in the afternoon by the 25th. And so we could see a big jump in the market at that point, because people are like, all right, it's not going to happen, we're going to go, right? I think some people figured that out, that like after 12 days of Veve, nothing happened for 3 days, no announcements, no nothing. It was just all quiet. Everything just started rocketing up. 59,000 Batmans, over 60,000 Spider-Mans, only 888 Supermans. That is very true. Someone asked me a really good question last stream. Would you do Superman or R2D2? So like, we'll go ahead and pull both of those up, because that's actually a very good comparison. They have like, they're both uncommon. They have nearly identical mints. Both FAs, both very, very iconic in their space. I will say, like, I know Superman is big, but Marvel has done such a better job promoting their superheroes, their IP, and now with Disney like backing it, they're just gonna keep cranking out just Marvel-related content. So even though I do think Superman, it's definitely like a historic like Veve NFT, it could do like very, very well. Like he's peaked at 8.5. I think he could definitely hit like 20K by the end of the year. Like who knows? Like anything could happen, maybe even higher. But he's been chilling around, you know, 6,100 for a while now. Because when that person asked me that question the other day, like they were identical prices too. Like it was literally 100 gem difference. But now like R2D2 is already running away, and I'm like, if I had to pick between the two, like, because R2D2's only got 600 less mints than Superman. I'm like, I think I'd have to go with R2D2. Like just the backing of the Star Wars fan base. R2D2's been like in every, I think, published video, movie of like Star Wars, extremely iconic, one of the most lovable characters of like the Star Wars franchise. And the Star Wars people are a very big deal. I'm not saying that like Superman isn't, but there's just been more recent support for Star Wars and all that stuff recently. So like I would invest in R2D2. Now they're 1,300 gems apart. But when someone asked me that question, I think it was like 2 days ago, they were like the same price. But yeah, I do like Superman. It's great. But if you have enough gems, like I'll pick it up after R2. Before R2 just starts running away, right? Thoughts on Wonder Woman? I like her. I think it's gonna take a while for the price of her to like mature. Especially if they don't release like another Wonder Woman for a while. I think she's being overlooked now just because of Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, a lot of the other like superheroes. Like I think even right now, like I think some people kind of favor like Deadpool over here. It's kind of getting to that point, not yet. She's peaked at 1550. just kind of going down a bit. People are taking profits at this point. I usually don't really look at the total listings of like the first like week or two of like when she was listed. Like everyone's just trying to sell it and get rid of it, and like I pretend that's not even there. I try to compare it to where it was at not too long afterward. I think she's solid. Like, to be honest, I'd rather take a Steamboat Willie than Wonder Woman. I think maybe very, very long term, like Wonder Woman could like pull ahead, but like even with the recent movies and films with her, like I don't think people should underestimate the fan base of like Disney and Star Wars and stuff like that, or just Disney in general. Like people are going to be really big on, I think, Steamboat Willie for the most part. So I think at this price point, you could probably get a uncommon, right? Potentially a, come on, work with me here. Come on, Mickey, quit hiding. Okay. Yeah, if you can make up the extra like 150, 200 gems, like I would get the uncommon, but if you can't, you could definitely buy the jaunty jig, have an extra 100 gems left over to play drops. Like that's pretty solid. That's just me personally. Like that's why you need to talk to multiple content creators. You know, it's like everything I say is not financial advice, obviously, but it's like if I give you a recommendation, I would hope you cross-reference it with another creator like Randy Chavez. Andrew Ellis is now kind of like getting down in the trenches of like, not that he wasn't before of like the market listings, but like now he's doing a series where he's going from like 1,000 gems to Rizzo. So he's really looking into basically purchasing NFTs that are like below 1,000 gems and stuff like that. So, you know, I think where I kind of stand out compared to other content creators is like, I like recommending or trying to get price points or like recommendations for people that only have, you know, 500 gems, 1,000 gems, you know, hey, I have 150 gems. What do you recommend? That kind of stuff. I think everyone talks about Secret Rare Spider-Man and Todd and what else? Like Walt and all that stuff. Like those are great talking points, but like not even 1% of the Veve user base can afford that stuff. Like it doesn't apply to them. Like it's fun to talk about, but it's not going to help you make profit or be able to help you be able to flip or feel comfortable in a purchase, right? So shake and bake. Thank you for that question. Sorry, I need to remember to like read the people's names like as they ask it. Zach of all trades, is the price history similar to accumulation and distribution with stocks? Would technical analysis work? Yes and no. Honestly, I haven't done that much investing in like stocks and stuff before. I've done a lot of market stuff in like video games. I'll be honest, like it sounds silly, but I played EVE Online for a while, which is considered to be like the most accurate simulation of like stocks and like real life exchange of goods and supply and demand and like all that stuff. So like I have some experience with that, but like with NFTs, it's so hard to do because all it takes is one tweet from a content creator. All it takes is one leak from a user or like whatever it is. Like all it takes is one thing and things just blow up in price. Like things just skyrocket, you know? You look at something like the Labracorn. I remember the Labracorn like blew up in price because they talked about breeding. I forgot even, I forgot who even makes these. I'll be honest, I forgot like who even makes the Labbits. But it's like one tweet was like, oh yeah, by the way, I would love to have Labbits be able to be breed in the Veveverse. Price just like explodes, goes from 270 all the way up to 500. So like basically doubles in price. I have to open this up. So the Labracorn, who makes these, by the way? Frank Kozik. You know, Frank says a lot of stuff. Like I haven't really followed him that closely, but you know, he has a lot of aspirations to do cool things with the Labbits, but like sounds like Veve hasn't confirmed anything or hasn't like maybe negotiated a lot of the stuff like just yet. So it's like all it takes is one tweet for something to explode, and then it's like it's hard to do a market analysis on that, right? But I'm sure you could follow some trends, like some things make sense, you know, total listings and all that stuff, but it's just hard to follow. Lenny, I'm just gonna, like I said before, I'm just gonna say Lenny. So I just sold my Uprising and have 200, so I don't know what to buy. So that's one thing I would suggest you guys do. Like if you guys do want to sell an NFT, unless you just like need it for a drop or something, or you're just like, all right, I want to sell it now because I feel like there's a series of drops, or there is a series of drops happening, and I want to sell it. Try to make sure like if you're selling an NFT, like, or if you need to sell multiple ones, make sure you're going towards something like, and it's not like a super time crunch. Like, okay, if I can sell these handful of NFTs, I'll make 1,700 gems, and I really want to get an FA Joker. Like Joker right now is at 1,400. Even if he moves up 300 gems, like I can still afford it. And as long as I sell these within like the next couple days, you know, or he's at 1,500. Like if I could sell it soon, like if you're selling a bunch of stuff, like make sure you're going towards something and not just like running away from a potential dip or running away from something else. Like make sure you're always going towards something. That's kind of like my advice to you guys if you guys are going to be selling stuff. But if you have 200 gems, if you have an extra 25 gems, of course, again, you can stack Alligator Lokis. You can get 3 of those. I'm trying to like open up I'm trying to give more recommendations. I think before I said like the Deadpool. If you asked me 2 days ago, I would have been like, dude, get a snow globe. Like all the snow globes were below 200 gems like 2 days ago. Now they're all, you know, well above that. I mean, you can grab like a rare Deadpool for that much. Like I said before, I'm a little bit more bullish on Deadpool, so you can actually grab a Deadpool as well as a common Alligator Loki, so that way you can kind of have 2 different NFTs. I'm a bigger fan of like spending, let's say you had 1,000 gems to spend. That's not what's in your wallet, but that's how much you're willing to invest. Like spending 800, 850 on an NFT, then spending the last like 150 to like stack some small stuff. I kind of like that. So that way you're like making some passive income and like stuff you can flip and you feel like you're still playing the market, rather than just like, all right, I bought one NFT and I'm just gonna like cross my arms and just sit and just hope things work my way, right? Like I feel like when you're actually flipping NFTs or you stack a certain something and you're kind of taking profits, little profits here and there, it's weird, but like it feels like you're in a little bit more control of like what's going on, right? Zach says, appreciate your time, new sub here. Awesome. Thank you so much for the sub, man. I appreciate it, Zach. Yeah, I don't know. The channel's probably about, I think it's like just shy of 2 months. Maybe it's like a month and a half old. Been on the app for 3.5 months. Just, I'm one of those people, like when I find a new hobby or like a new thing I get really into, especially when it comes to NFTs, I just poured hundreds of hours and watched dozens of videos of just like, all right, what's good, what's not good, what does FA mean, and how's this profitable, and you know, what are people doing? I watch so many different content creators, Chevelle, Randy, Cavell, Randy, Andrew Ellis, NFT Pirates, like all those people. There's like literally too many to list, but yeah, like that's a lot of people that I watch to help me. Voltron, please. Funny enough, I actually had a Voltron set not too long ago. I completed it during the 12 days of Veve. Don't really like regret it. Kind of wish I had those gems to like invest into something else during that time, but I managed to finish the set, probably collect a bunch of master collector points. I sold it probably a week ago when it was at its peak with the whole like China announcement and all that stuff. Jeez, oh wow. I sold my ultra rare for like 670, and the rest of these, like I sold the common for like, I think like 140, 150, and then this was like 170. This was like 250. So I ended up selling it at a good time. If you're trying to like play off the whole like Southeast Asian market and China and all that stuff, like if you're talking about the entire set, I would say spend that, what, 150, is that 600, 700, 800? Yeah, spend that grand or like that 900 gems on something else, like in my personal opinion. But if you're like just talking the common, like, like maybe. Let me look at the common really quick. But the main thing is like a lot has to go right. Like Ultraman, Voltron, a lot of people are kind of baking on that. Like as far as I remember, I don't know if this is completely correct, but like the whole Chinese localization or just like languages that are in like the Southeast Asian area, like the localization might not happen until like early next year. So if you're gonna buy these, you might have to hold these for a while until like the Southeast Asian market comes in. And with China involved, like who knows what's gonna happen, right? Like they might just have, you know, government sanctioned NFTs, and like you can only use like the government mandated like blockchain, and like it could just be very inclusive. Like no one knows what's gonna happen with that. Like I doubt they're just gonna open the floodgates and like, all right, just go on OpenSea, go on Veve, go on Immutable X, like just buy whatever you want. Anything could happen. So it's a little same thing with like the Veveverse. Like it's just too much speculation. Like too many things would have to happen in like X period of time for it to work. Like that's just me personally. I'm either trying to think like pretty long term, but not just like off speculation, right? Let's see. Best budget buyer right now on Veve. It's funny. I had a list yesterday. By the way, my vault is like not accurate. Like I actually put up the Veve logos because I haven't updated my vault in forever. It's actually kind of hard to update the vault like on a consistent basis, especially if you're flipping a lot. And like I do it just because, you know, people occasionally ask like, oh, that's a lot of money, or that's not a lot of money, or what do you invest in? And like it just kind of brings up more questions that I care to answer. Like I'd rather just cover it up. I don't know. there was so many good things on discount. Like I was telling people constantly, like, buy a rare Spider-Man 3 days ago because it was at like 1.4K. Now it's at like 1.8 right now. I think Joe Mad isn't like a terrible pickup. I think he hasn't really moved since the Batman drop. I mean, he's been steadily going down. When he was at like 1600, I think that was a pretty solid pickup because he's had a peak of 2200. So again, he has another 600 gems to go, but like he has, again, I don't really look at like the very beginning of this because that's like Disney Gold moments and that's something absurd. He is at an all-time high when it comes to total listings. So if you buy him, you might have to wait a while for the price to go back up, but I do think that's okay. For 1,000 gems, like you honestly still can't go wrong with Steamboat Willie. Like I said, I'm very bullish on Steamboat Willie. Get the common or uncommon, like doesn't matter. If you can't afford the uncommon, just get the common and like stack something else or just save the gems for drops. I think FA Joker, I'm trying to find some stuff that's like a bit cheaper. I was a bit bullish on like DeLoreans as well as the Ecto ones because, you know, the 2.5% fee is nice, but again, these are the same kind of NFTs that just get, if there's any kind of like semblance of an announcement, they tend to just get sold off, right? Yeah, it was down to like 109. I was telling people to buy it like right around here. It did go up a bit, and it's like if you bought it back then, great, like you're in the profit, but this is going to be one that's going to take some time to recover too. Same thing with like Ecto 1. I did like the Ecto 1 because it had like a fifth of the mints of the DeLorean. Like DeLorean has 50,000 mints common. The Ecto 1 has only 10,000 mints or just shy of it. But again, I do think Back to the Future is a bit more of like a recognizable brand than Ghostbusters, potentially internationally. Like I'm not exactly sure. Of course, like you can always like stack Groots, you can stack Storms. I'm not sure how they're doing right now. Again, I haven't done a lot of like digging through the market. That's actually part of the reason why I was like doing this stream, was like I was just gonna look at random NFTs, see which ones are undervalued, look at some charts. For the most part, we look at like Storm, where's she sitting at. Also might need to like refresh the web page here in a sec. She's at 89. Okay, gosh, dude. Were you guys here when she was going for like 35 gems? Like people were just not disrespecting her, but like, yeah, kind of in a way. Like I think some people didn't like the goofy hair. Like I'll be honest, like I'm a huge X-Men fan, but I wasn't a huge fan of her hair, but I still got like 2 or 3 of her or whatever. I think I still have one, not entirely sure. Maybe I sold it. And yeah, I mean, she's had history of going up to 140, so she has another like 40 gems to move from where she's at now. Again, there is a lot of mints, but I think that's a pretty solid investment as well. Like pretty undervalued. Like it depends. Like stacking is a good way to make a lot of like percentage profit, but it might take you some time to A, not only just for the price to go up, but B, like if you have 15 storms, it's going to take you a while to sell 15 storms without screwing up the market, right? Because there's 15,000 other people also potentially looking to like undercut or waiting for the price to pump, and then like they're doing other stuff. So it can be difficult. Like stacking is, you know, it's a good way to make profit, which is why I think it's good to like not diversify your portfolio a little bit, but it's like I flip and do this kind of stuff until I can afford a grail. Like right now I'm trying to afford a Todd eventually. I do have like a handful of NFTs I'm like trying to get rid of. Waiting for the price to go back up a bit, but then once I secure that Todd, I'm gonna use those remaining gems to buy things for short and medium term for flipping. I just keep doing that until I can afford another grail. I just do that and I just keep doing it all over and over and over. So I hope that helped. Like I don't, you know, I used to be in sales. I did a lot of cold calling sales for like 6-7 years. So like when someone asks like a general question, like what's a good deal? It's like the sales me is like, all right, what's your price point? What's your time? Like, no, I don't want to get too in depth with that, but it's mostly like, hey, are you looking to stack or get one NFT? And how much are you talking about here? Like, then I can help you out, right? It's like, usually those questions are pretty relevant because I want to make sure I give you the right info. Okay, let me catch up with chat. Dylan. But HMA, that's a good question. Like sometimes it's good to ask general questions because it opens up your imagination a bit more. It kind of forces me to like think of other stuff. Dylan, is Todd a good buy right now? I mean, people have been speculating Todd is going to hit 100K by the end of the year. One thing I've learned is to like not doubt the community. Like if enough big hitters in the community, so content creators, you see it all the time in like Discord and other places, like people are saying that enough, it's going to happen. Because what's going to happen over the next 6 to 9 months? Like there's going to be celebrities coming in. There's going to be people that are extremely wealthy coming into the app. And what are they going to hear constantly? Todd, 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 Todd. In my personal opinion, Todd is the grail of grails. He's not the most expensive, but every new grail that comes out will be compared to Todd. He's the number one. He's the FA. He's the one of the one of the one of, like, you can do as many of the ones as you want. But they're always going to compare it to him. I think just as iconic as he is, like there's a good chance he could have hit 100K before the end of the year. So I think picking him up now, that's kind of one thing I'm kind of a little worried about. I think at any point he could just run away. Could be after the mini drop, could be February 25th when people realize Pokemon's not going to get announced. He might just run up to like 25K. Who knows? Because every pump that has happened has been bigger. He's gone from 1.3 to 2.5, so that's a 1.K pump. He was at 2.7, went up to 4.4. That's a 2K pump, or just shy of 2K. This pump all the way up to here. It's a bit like each pump is getting bigger, like multiplicatively. So it wouldn't surprise me if one day you have a lot of whales or people just organize or whatever it is, or all it takes is, you know, Todd to hit 16 and people start panicking. Now he's up to 17. And you notice too, like you see those walls get thinner as they go higher. So yeah, I think now's a great time to get Todd. And again, I've said this before in my videos as well as my live streams, like you're never going to catch an NFT at its peak. When you're trying to sell, you're never going to catch it at its peak. And if you're trying to buy, you're never going to catch it at its bottom. If you bought Todd today, odds are he might go back to 10.6. Like later this week, he could go down to 10,600. But then he'll skyrocket at any point. Like the most important part is just to secure the NFT. Especially if you're paying this kind of money. Don't trip about 1,000 gems or a couple hundred gems here and there. Like you're just never going to catch an NFT at the perfect time. Like just secure it. If you like it, you think it's going to do well, just secure it and just chill on it. Especially if it's a grail like this. A little bit of a different story if we're talking like stacking and this and that. Like that's where the gem per gem becomes a bit more important. But let's see here. Isaiah Sandoval, what's up, Veve Vibes? Just subbed. I got scammed recently for a rare Deadpool. Dude, that sucks. I hate to hear that, dude. I mean, I don't know what happened, if it's off app or anything like that. Like, unfortunately, that's kind of the risk you take, but it sucks that it happened to you, dude. Like, Neon Vibes, hello, dude. I love the last name, Vibes. We vibing right now. Isaiah Sandoval says, going to be loading 1,000 gems. I need recommendations. Steamboat Willie. Steamboat Willie, that's very, very solid. You could do like FA Harley. It depends. Here's another thing. Do you want to stack? Or do you want just one NFT and you just want to chill on it? It depends, right? Like if you want to do stacks, like I kind of like the idea of like, I don't like doing like heavy stacks. Like, oh, I'll get 20 of this. I kind of like the idea of like, all right, I'm going to get 3 to 5 of these. Like that's a good stack. Especially since you can get a good chunk of change, like offset selling one, right? FA Harley, that's the ultra rare. There she is. She's at 900. That gives you 100 gems left over. Like if you legitimately have no gems left and you're putting in 1,000, probably FA Harley and leave that 100 gems left over for future drops. Again, Steamboat, like I'm very bullish on Steamboat Willie, mostly because when I actually won the ultra rare on a drop, and I ended up buying the other Steamboats when they were at like 350, and I told people for like a week, like, dude, I can't believe these Steamboats are under 400. Like, buy them. Like 3 videos in a row. At the end, I was like, buy them. Like, buy these Steamboats. They're undervalued. And then eventually they skyrocketed because content creators were saying for a week, this is a grail. This is the first time animation and sound went together and all that stuff. And like, because the community put a lot of value behind it, like the current community and like a lot of the big name people eventually bought it. And then new people that come into the app, whether they have 100 gems or 1,000,000 gems, they're going to listen to those guys and take their advice. So that's, I held my UR Mickey. I thought like 6 or 7 times I wanted to sell it. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to hold. Thank God I did, because then it ran up to 10K. So trying to think of some like other good ones for like around 1,000. Like honestly, there was Captain America, like the ultra rare was sitting at 1,000. He's higher now. Yeah, he's at like 1.6, but he was sitting at like right at 1,000 not too long ago. Like right here, he's sitting at 1,000. I'm like, dude, this guy peaked at, he's literally 50% off. He was selling at 10 or 1950, so basically 2,000, and he's at 1,000, and he's animated, ultra rare. Like I know he's not FA, but like, you know, some people might be a little bit bearish on him because like there was the hype of Captain America like last week, and it might have died out about now, but like 1,000 gems for him is a pretty solid pickup. But he's a bit higher now, so that's up to you. But those are kind of my picks. If you've noticed, like I can't don't really recommend a lot of like Decon or Kripkins or anything like that. Like I just stick to the big name brands. Like after just studying the market for like 3 months, my most recent videos, like anything that's not Marvel, DC, or Disney, like as much as I hate to say it, like I do think there's a lot of IPs that are sleeping like really hard that could do extremely well, like the common and uncommon was it Bubbles and Buttercup, I think. Like Adventure Time is really sleeping, like the second set ever released on the app. I know it doesn't have a huge following, but like some of those could do very, very well. And like there's going to become a point where like people just want the season 1 collectibles. Like they don't even care what it is. Like they just want season 1 collectibles. Like that's going to be a huge deal. But until all the Marvel, Disney, and DC NFTs price themselves out, they just get so expensive nobody can afford them. Then the other ones will have time to shine, like the Mermacornos, Adventure Time, Powerpuff Girls, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, like a lot of those like season 1 stuff. So they'll have their time. It's just going to take a while, in my personal opinion. Let me catch up with chat. People have been asking awesome questions, so I really appreciate it, guys. Captain Sugar Rush 1, any thoughts on Supergirl? She seems to have dropped like 50% in value, and there's only 3,800 of her. Good pickup. Yes and no. Like I think mostly because, just like you said, like I think honestly, Gone of the Days, unless they're absurdly low mints, and that's hard to judge too, right? Like Ben Reilly's 666 mints is very low, and it's attached to Spider-Man. So like, if it's a big name, extremely iconic superhero plus low mints, that's a very big deal. But if it's just low mints on a meh character, like you would think Penguin too. Like Penguin, like of all this, like there's 1,100 Jokers, there's a bunch of quite a few Harleys, but like Penguin's like, oh my god, 3,200 mints. Like how is this just not skyrocketing? It's a pretty big villain. It's like an A tier villain. I'd put Joker at S tier, but he's just not as iconic as Joker. And Harley's had a lot of been in the movies and like a lot of like entertainment stuff. Let me see here. What were we talking about? Supergirl. See, I already forgot her name. Nothing against her, but it's just like for this price point, like I'd rather just buy Joker. Like I'd rather just spend the extra 50 gems and just buy Joker, because even though Supergirl has peaked, she hasn't recovered very well. And like when you see these massive swings multiple times, because usually if we see things like Joker, like the swings don't look this massive. Like there's not like 20-30% like listing swings consistently. I still think she's an FA. She's a pretty solid pickup, but like I'd rather get Wonder Woman over Supergirl, to be honest. That's just me personally. I'd rather and save the extra 200 gems and use that to stack something else or just play it for drops. Like if you look at Joker, you can see those massive, because like whenever you see the blue line go up like immediately after this, people are taking profits, which is expected. But if you're seeing it multiple times and it's just like not quite recovering, or it's like not even reaching 50% of where it was peaked before, that's kind of, it's kind of an issue. So listings are kind of high here. So like maybe I'm just more bullish on Joker just because he's an iconic villain. Like I said before, probably the most iconic villain, like of all the villains, for the most part. So because he's getting pretty high up there on the listings, but maybe that's just my personal bias. But that's just me personally. Again, it's not a terrible investment. Like you're gonna make profit. It's gonna go up in price. Like Veve NFTs isn't a matter of like, oh, will this be profitable? It's just a matter of like how much and when, right? Like you could buy a Joker and a Supergirl. They're both basically identically priced, but like Maybe there's a time where Joker really pulls ahead. He's at 2,500 gems, and then he starts plateauing, and then Supergirl, a month or two later, something gets released, DC announces something, whatever, and then she skyrockets up to 3K. Like, anything can happen. And that's why it's kind of hard to predict that kind of stuff. Let's see here. I picked her up at 1.8K. I'm wondering why there was such a huge pump and then nobody cares about her anymore. Yeah, you kind of have to be kind of be careful about that. Like when there's a huge pump going on, I can actually pull her up again before I forget. Hello, super. There it is. Yeah. So there's massive pump all the way up to 2,300. This feels like pretty, I don't know what happened here. This feels like pretty synthetic, to be honest. Like, I'm not sure if there's like a huge announcement or what it was. I'm not sure. Like, does anybody know what happened? Like, anybody know what happened like on this day, like around like January 17th, 16? Like, I don't remember anything like crazy happening that day that I know of. All right, we'll go ahead and head back. Would you rather have one Superman and one Todd, or one Superman and 20 other NFTs? Depends what the other NFTs were. I'd rather just have the Todd and a bunch of other NFTs. Like, if it's Superman and Todd or Superman and whatever, like I would secure the Todd and use the Superman money to secure other NFTs. That's me personally. Veve King, what do you think about the Ghostbusters Ecto 1? I think all the vehicles are undervalued. Just stumbled upon your channel. Good content. I appreciate it. I talked about it earlier. I do like the Ecto 1. Like, it's a fifth of the mints as the DeLorean. Although the DeLorean is more popular. It's interesting how more recently people are valuing popularity of the NFT, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if something has 3,000 mints versus 7,000. Like, if there's literally 50 million fans of that franchise, like, does it really matter? A 4,000? Like, potentially, I think for certain IPs it does. I talked about the Ecto 1. It's gonna take a while. Like, we need to get some bullish news on the Veveverse, renting, all that stuff to really see some like heavy movement with the like Ecto 1 and DeLorean, in my opinion. The reason why, I'm trying to remember like why this initially pumped. Like, what happened around this time? Does anybody like remember? Was it just like a dead period, or like just I don't know, but like it seems like a lot of things pumped. I'm trying to remember like what happened back then, but yeah, there was just a huge pump and a huge sell-off. I think people were just chasing a lot of NFTs, and I think the maybe it's just a trickle-down effect, because I noticed like the first week of January, all the blue chips were getting pumped, because again we had, you know, millions and millions and millions of gems pumped into the market on December. Like 50% of the gems that were purchased in 2021 happened in December. Another 50% happened the other 11 months of the year. So a lot of people are coming into the app. And once 12 days of Veve were over, you know, if I'm new to the Veve app and I'm like, I tell my friend like, hey, I'm gonna invest 10 grand of gems into Veve. What should I buy? What are they gonna? They're gonna recommend the blue chips, right? Like, well, there's Superman, there's Todd, like Wonder Woman. She's an FA. She's pretty cool. Like, well, like I'm not saying like Wonder Woman's like a grail, but you know what I mean. Like, those are like the affordable NFTs below 10 grand at that point. I think ultra rare Spider-Man, stuff like that. Like, if you can't afford the secret rare, buy the ultra rare. So I started at the top, then it went down to, then it started going down to like Wonder Woman, and then some of the other like better NFTs. Then it eventually went down to like Deadpool, Storms, stuff like that. So eventually those started pumping as well. So maybe this is what just caught like the very tail end of like that pump, because that was like a 2 or 3 week deal. So maybe that's what happened here. Yeah, not entirely certain. I like the vehicles. I think it's just gonna take a while to mature, right? And again, because these NFTs fit in that like 150 to 200 gem spot, anytime there's an announcement and people don't have enough gems, these are the first ones they're gonna sell off. 2.5% fee, so you get more gems out of it. And I don't know, if you guys watch my most recent video, you'll understand why I like the vehicle, but it's just gonna take time for it to get to that point. It's that boy Keo. What's up, dude? Keo's been here in like the last like 2 or 3 streams, and I appreciate that, dude. New Mutant Deadpool is cheap, probably. I think that was a sleeper comic for a while. I think Sleeping in Comics was like, dude, why is this going for so cheap? Like, this is the first appearance of Deadpool. Deadpool is huge, and like modern media, like all that kind of stuff, like movies, shows. Ultra rare vehicles. Okay, sorry. Ecto. Haven't really looked at the ultra rares too much, but it makes sense because it's the 1-to-1 size, so it's like the one you're probably most likely going to drive. And that's the other thing too about the Veve verse. It's like, are you like if the vehicle's static, like are you not going to be able to drive it? Like that'd be kind of a bummer. If like the 6-to-1 ratio, I'm assuming that means it's a sixth of the size of it. So like you can't use it then because it's just too small. You have to use it like a remote control car. Who knows? Let's see here. So Ecto 1 ultra rare. So it peaked at 900. People were selling off because of the Batman announcement. People were taking profits again. How many are there again? 440 or 4,444. I think it's all right, but I think it's just going to stumble the same issue. Like this is why the vehicles haven't done that well. We need like Veveverse, like bullish info about like renting or using vehicles. I forgot the name of the one company we partnered with that's also a car. Like once we get an official drop date for that, or like once they announce like when it's going to happen, I think the vehicles could go up in price. But like it's been really chilling between this like 300 to 400 gem range, and it takes them weeks to like get that margin. So it's not like that's not something that happens like within a couple of days. So you can actually do some margin trading between like 300 and 400. Like it does take a while, and it's been just trending downward. So I feel like this pump has just been synthetic because after the 12 days of Veve, people were just buying up anything they could. Like, oh my God, like everything's getting bought up. So I just have a bad feeling this trend is just going to keep going downward. But you never know. Like literally anything can happen. Like I don't want to like promise anything, but like that's just the trend that I've noticed. Like you can see it's trending down here, pump, trending down, like pump, kind of trending down. Everything's trending down right now, but I think people would just rather have characters and stuff rather than like vehicles until, again, bullish information comes out about the Veveverse. I hope that helped, Veve King. Hope that makes sense. Gotti, you are Steamboat Willie, please. Yes, I got one. I have the set. I was like, hey, I have the ultra rare. Might as well just complete the set. Steamboat. So we'll go to Mickey. All together now. It's solid. I mean, I've been holding this thing since I got it on drop. I've been holding it. I contemplated, like, I would say the only time, arguably, that was like a good time to sell before was like, if you sold it around here, like even if you sold it for 5.5, you didn't get it at its peak, whatever. You did that, you bought a Todd for like 3.7, because like Todds were at like 3.7 during this time, like during 12 days of Veve. You sold it for like 5.5K, you bought a Todd, you still have 1,200 left over. You wait for like Jaunty Jig and Happy Whistle to like go down to 350, you buy those up, you complete the set on the cheap, and now Todd is where he's at. But like, even then, like I don't regret like not selling it then. Like it's gonna hit 10K, it already has multiple times. It's a blue chip for sure. Like I know, yeah, I think it's a blue chip. It's the first appearance of Mickey. There's so many Disney fans that have yet to go on the app, and the first thing they're gonna want is like, maybe if they're a Star Wars fan too, of course they're gonna look for Star Wars stuff first maybe, but like, all right, what's the first appearance of Mickey? I want to buy one, right? If they got a lot of money, they'll buy the ultra rare. If they don't, or if they can only afford the common and uncommon, they're gonna get that. At least if they're big fans of it, right? So I'm very bullish on Steamboat Willie. I would say the only thing that I think is better than Steamboat Willie is Spider-Man. Like that's the only thing. And like there's different price points in there, so. Let's see here, 3,200 gems. What should I be buying? Just getting options. So I had 3,200 gems not too long ago, like 2 days ago. I ended up buying ultra rare Spider-Man, not ultra rare, Jesus, a rare Spider-Man, as well as a FA Joker. Joker's dipped, Spider-Man of course is up. For 3,200, like I said, like you could literally buy both double Steamboat Willies and still have roughly 1,000 gems left over to probably get yourself like an FA Harley. Like that's a pretty solid lineup. But 3,200, huh? There's not a lot of like that I can think of off the top of my head, like solid NFTs that are around 3 grand. Like I know Nightwing is around there, but like I think unfortunately, I think he's definitely iconic. Like the early days of Veve, people are like, oh my God, 2 Todds for a Nightwing. Like I wasn't there during that time, obviously, but I think people will put more value on like popular characters than mints. Because back then, like early days of Veve, people put more value on mint number versus like the popularity of the character itself, right? A lot of the ones that I covered, what's the other one? Dude, Iron Man. Iron Man, I think he's gone up quite a bit. That's the other thing too, like things I was recommending literally a day or two ago have gone up in price. Iron Man was at what, he's at 2K. And I'm like, dude, this thing is peaked at 3,200 2 days prior. Like this thing has a lot of room to move. And especially we've gotten more bullish information about, you know, the golden moments. We had that one guy, I'm trying to remember, I think it was like non-fungible wonderfuls video. It was like the old IP licensing officer or whatever for Disney or whatever. And he's like, dude, like you guys should really execute on the golden moments because like FA is like a huge deal. I think Disney dropped the ball by making them like kind of like weird statues. Like they could have done a better job or whatever he said. But like FA Iron Man is a big deal. Golden moments, you know, it's not the FA Iron Man I wanted. Like I wanted like the full like yellow and like red suit and like B3D and there's like a blind box drop. Like eventually we'll get that, I hope. But even now, even at 2,600, I'm like, he still has another 600 gems to move. So I think that one's pretty solid. I'd probably still go with Steamboats too. I'm just very bullish on it, but again, I want to give you just more options. Joker's at a pretty good low, but like he could dip a bit more. What are some other decent options? I kind of had like a little list here. Kind of curious where like the ultra rare zombie hunter Spider-Man's at. Also just the Spider-Mans in general, like literally just like the common, like you can't go wrong with those. I still think the jump into action one is like solid. Like if you have 3,200 gems, I take this all back. If you have 3,200 gems and you're not buying a Spider-Man, you should. I think the rare is like the best bang for your buck and it has the most room to grow. Plus like all the other ones you can't. You can get the ultra rare. That's a good question too. It's like what's going to be better, ultra rare zombie hunter or the normal Spider-Man? I would say this Spider-Man because it looks the exact same as the secret rare. It's kind of like the broke version, not broke version, but like, you know, it's the bootleg version of it. It's the same stance. It's just like not animated. So I would actually highly suggest this. Get Spider-Man, jump into action. It's, you know, he still has a ways to go. He still has 600 gems to go till he hits his peak. Get this. Again, not financial advice, but like options. Like you could get this as well as a Steamboat Willie common. That would leave you with, so that way you at least get a Steamboat under your belt. So that puts you at what? 2,800. And you can use the last 400 gems to stack, play drops, Alligator Lokis, things like that. Like that would be my suggestion, in my opinion. I know that's kind of like a long-winded answer, but I want to make sure I gave you some options. If you have that much gems, like stick to the FAs, get the big name characters. Like you can literally never go wrong with Spider-Man. I think Steamboat Willie is going to see some big movement over the next couple months. As big as Spider-Man, maybe not, but I think Steamboat Willie could do some pretty insane stuff. Marvel comic rare, 1.3K first ever NFT comic. Yeah, I just don't know about comics. Like I know those have been amazing. Like I should really do my research on comics, but it's like a totally different animal, and I feel like just in general people like want collectibles more than the comics. But then again, like in my mind, it's hard to justify like, all right, should I buy a Marvel Comics #1 or should I just get like what is a Marvel Comics #1 right now? Like just a common. It's like 700, right? Marvel Comic, okay, it's a secret rare. It's a bit much for me. Marvel Comics #1. So, okay, it's at 5. It's actually not bad. You said the Marvel Comics rare, 1,300. Where was this at before? And that's the thing, like the price action of like the comics is just like so different. It's just so slow and steady for months, and then it does this. So it's hard to say because Marvel Comics is at its peak right now, but like Rare Spider-Man and like Steamboat Willie, like they've shown history of going above those numbers that they're currently at. So I'm not like Marvel Comics is gonna do amazing. I just not entirely sure. I think at some point I probably will invest in a Marvel Comics at some point. I just haven't yet. Yeah, I think it's actually good. Like content creators that are knowledgeable about comics, like they've carved themselves out a good little niche because there's a lot of people that know the characters and the collectibles, they know this kind of market very well, but not comics. Like, that's out of my wheelhouse a bit. What do you think about Wally? I think he's pretty solid. Cute little guy. He's doing his best. For 1,500, that's the other question. When I look at the price of where he's at now, I'm trying to think, like, what are some equivalent NFTs that I could buy for the same price? You know, Joker could be better, unlikely. I think Wally has more room to move in short term than Joker. I'm not entirely sure. Just trying to think of some other stuff. Steam, I think I'd honestly get, like, I hate to be that guy that just repeats the same NFTs. That's actually why, like, one day I need to sit down and, like, really analyze more NFTs than just recommending, like, the same, like, you know, 15 to 20 NFTs over and over and over again. But it's like, I'd honestly get I'd rather get an uncommon Steamboat Willie and spend the extra 200 gems on stacking something, or just spend it on drops. Like, that's just me. Not saying that Wally won't do great things. I think he can, but he is, you know, unfortunately, he is considered probably the lowest tier, if not, like, probably bottom 2 or 3 of, like, the golden moments. I mean, and that's like, you know, not to crap on it, but, like, it's still a golden moment. It's still a Disney thing. Like, it's amazing. I just think there's just better buys, at least as of right now. But who knows? Like, the gold moments could just take off. Like, in a month from now, Disney could release some utility for the golden moments, and all of a sudden everything just, like, takes off. Like, who knows? Anything could happen. Spider Zero just came over after watching Randy's live stream. Can't believe I just found your channel. Now like and subscribe right away. Thank you, dude. Spider Zero, dude. You already know what's up. Spider-Man, let's go. AJ Leb, I am poor. What do you do with 100 gems? Play drops, dude. Like, if you want to, like, I've always told people to keep, like, legitimately, like, 100 to 150 gems, usually because you never know when Veve's gonna announce, like, a multi-day drop, or like what happened with Storm, or also Sue Storm, like both Storms. You know, let's say you get it on drop and you get it, and, like, you don't want to sell it because the market is literally selling it at box value, or if you, like, sold it at floor, you just, like, lose gems. And you're like, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to hold it until I can get profit or whatever. But there's a drop in 2 days, like another 50 gem drop. You know, you want to make sure you have an extra 50 gems left over to actually play that drop. And then by then, maybe Sue storms it up a bit higher. It might take a week, like, whatever. So I always tell people, like, try to have 150, have like 100, 150 gems left over to play drops. I know it's, like, super tempting to, like, buy an NFT and, like, leave yourself with, like, 10 or 15 or, like, 20 gems left. But, like, you never know when, like, a blind box drop of, like, Marvel or DC is going to come out. Like, you want to have enough gems for that. That's just my opinion. So if you only, like, if you legitimately only have 100 to your name, like, I guess if you wanted to, you could probably buy a cheap comic. There's the commons right now, I think on average are going for about, like, 20, 22 gems. But I would just play the drops, dude. I do think that Minnie Mouse thing could be a series announcement, like maybe multiple drops, but no one knows yet. That's my recommendation. Gotti, please can you talk about Wally? That's what I just read. Or wait. Said Wally again. Crypto King, grab that Vision Avengers comic 57. That's probably solid. I'm gonna speed through chat really quick just so I can kind of catch up. Bob McTagg, sorry. If you're not buying that rare Joker that's out there, there's something wrong with you. I will admit, crunching the numbers, like, mathematically, the Dick Spring Joker is, like, insanely undervalued. It's before it was much lower priced. Before, like, Jim Lee was at 2K and, like, Dick Spring was at 800. I'm like, how is something with half the mints part of the same set, so it's not like a completely different set? Like, it is a first edition, and I think that's another thing that's going to happen in the future. Like, of course, FAs are going to be the top tier, but, like, FEs aren't going to be, like, trash tier. Like, FEs are still going to be, like, pretty high A tier, especially if you're talking, like, Jokers and stuff. I bought one at 800. So I'm trying to remember where I bought it. It's easy, you know, he's dipped quite a bit now, but I think that's another thing I'm kind of learning about the DC stuff is, like, I think people are more inclined to flip the DC over Marvel, of course, again, because that 8.5% fee. That could be part of it, not entirely certain. I do think Dick Spring is, like, undervalued because he is kind of tied to Jim Lee, and it's still a good, like, it's part of the same set and everything. Like, just mathematically, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like Dick Sprang, like, let's say Joker was at 2K. In my opinion, Dick Sprang should be at like 1.2K. But when Jim Lee was at 2, the other Joker was only at like 800. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, if you crunch the numbers, it makes sense. But what we're seeing here is just not matching that. So again, I do think a day will come when Joker will just pop off, because I think people are going to realize that there's like infinitely less mints of Joker compared to Batman. Any Batman fan is going to want to have a Batman as well as a Joker, like, alongside each other. There's only 11,000 Jokers compared to 59,000 Batmans. So that's kind of my take on it. But I get what you're saying, dude. Like, I made that same point, I think, like 3 days ago about Dick Sprang. Please, Wally. I covered that. Crypto King, $70. I think that's what you meant by like how much to hold for drops. So, or no, $70 is Vision Avengers comic number 57. Cool. Toss me a sniper. How do you feel about UR Ritmo, Jamaican unicorn with dreads, and it's animated and has 1,500 editions? Not very bullish on like the unicornos. Like, they might do better because people are considering getting sets now to like max out the Master Collector program. Like, this is a secret I probably didn't, I was gonna like keep to myself, but if we look at vvsetlist.com, I'll go ahead and pull it over here. So if we look at comics, I think people, and I think this might go hand in hand with like Unicorno set. It's like if we looked at comics right now, all the rares are like between like even the lowest tier, least popular comic books, because they give so many Master Collector points, are going for 73 gems or whatever. They're going anywhere between 73 to 100 gems, you know, obviously based on like how good the comic is and stuff. Like, all future comics that are going to drop, if they're below 73 gems, you just buy it, because you know they're going to eventually, at least the people that value the Master Collector program, they're going to at least reach the benchmark of this range, right? 75. Like, just buy it, because you know, like, the current like lowest benchmark for rares and like Master Collector points, like per dollar, like dollar per Master Collector point. That's my take on it. Like next couple comic drops. By the way, I literally never win comic drops. I've won 2 comic drops in 3 months since I started, like 3.5 months ago, and I've never won a rebound. Never won a rebound. I've done pretty well on like the single drops, like the Batman Croc thing. Like, I didn't win it, but like if it's a single drop, I do okay on those. Blind box, I do really well on. I probably win like 70% of the time, because it's, you just spam one spot and that's all you do. And I'm an old school gamer, so that's all I do. Like, I can spam my finger really fast, but other than that, I just can't win. So I'd say, like, if a comic drops and you look at the rares and they're going for like 50, 40 gems, like, just buy it. Like, people are gonna find out, like, oh wow, like, whether it takes a day or 2 or a week, like, people are like, oh wow, like, that rare is the lowest for Master Collector points. I'm gonna buy it up until it matches the lowest price of here, and then you're off with it, right? So that's my take on it. But Ritmo, let's go and pull up Ritmo really quick. Ritmo, honestly, I haven't really looked at like the unicornos that much, like hardly at all. Some crazy price action stuff here. Just the listings, and it's exacerbated because the mints are so low. So like the difference between this and this is like 20 listings, which in the grand scheme of things is nothing, but it looks like it's just flying around, which is not necessarily the case. So because it has such low mints, again, like I think it's going to be more valuable in a sense of like, it's going to be the gatekeeper, other than like the secret rare, but like secret rare and ultra rares of like some of these unicorno, mermacorno sets are going to be the gatekeepers to people actually completing the sets if they're shooting for that Master Collector program, right? Of course I closed that damn website. VV set list. All right, let me pull it up again. Like, of course I closed it. Okay, so here it is. So far the cheapest one, so like Mermacorno Season 2, that's with Shark Bite and all that other stuff. So Mermacornos, where's the Unicornos? Okay, they're a bit of a ways down, but like it's definitely not the most expensive by any means. So that one's 162 gems, or $62 like per Master Collector point. So as of right now, I do think like all this stuff has more room to grow. Maybe not 007, like don't expose yourself to that. Like, same thing with serial killers. I'm not too bullish on that stuff either, but again, I do think like the ultra rare and that kind of stuff is like the gatekeepers to completing the set, at least if people care about master collector points. It's like the number's just like too small, and like it's just too erratic for me to like really give like an accurate assessment. Like, it's up to 54 listings, so obviously people are trying to take profit and flip it. Like it's just so all over the place. It's a really cool looking NFT. It's probably the most unique looking unicorno of like the set, but other than that, I wish I could help you out. Like, it's just like way too erratic. It's like, and I think that's the other thing too, is that it's like not consistent, right? I think it could do well, but if you already have one, hold it. If you're thinking about buying one, I think there's better options in my opinion. Lenny says, do you think the market will rise or dip during January 27th OMI? Hard to say. There's going to be a lot of things in motion there, and I have a feeling like Veve will announce something before then, whether it's the Minnie Mouse thing or whatever, which could cause a dip. There's going to be some like weird push and pull happening, so I'm not entirely certain. Like, I couldn't even guess. All I know is that there's a dip happening right now. Everyone's kind of hedging their bets on like what's going to happen with the mini drop. So trying to predict things as major as that, I think is going to be kind of hard. Zach of all trades, just grabbed a common zombie Spider-Man. Dude, that's solid. That's probably one of the more solid investments you could do for around 300. I mean, the thing peaked at, I'll show it here really quick. Also, stream's not lagging or anything, right? Like, everything seems to be solid. Okay. I remember I bought 9 of these when they were at like 270. I still have a few I need to sell off. I think I have like 2 left. But when these were at, I probably bought it like a little bit too high on the peak. I was telling people to buy this, if you guys watch my videos, like a month ago. Okay, about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, whatever. I was like, these are the best NFTs you can get for under 100 gems, or like these are the FA NFTs you should get below 100 gems. It was like, I was like, you should get Zombie Hunter Spider-Man, you should get Batman Who Laughs, you should get Catwoman, you should get Batgirl, and like all those like 4x'd during this pump, obviously, right? So if you invested, like, I kind of wish I took my own word of advice. Like, I just got like 1 or 2 of each, and I'm like, all right, this will work. I should have just gotten like 15, like, especially with the Batman Who Laughs. Like, that one pumped the hardest, but it's also retracing the most, right? Yeah, even though the listing on this website only says like 445, this thing did reach 500, or maybe like 490 or whatever, but it did hit that peak. So again, like, it does have history of basically reaching 500, and there's probably quite a few people between this mark of 320 all the way up to 500 that bought it at that price and are just going to hodl until it gets above that, right? At least I would hope so. Do you think DeLoreans pump again? Unlikely. Again, like I've said before, like my most recent video, it's like, it's not DC Marvel Star Wars, DC Marvel Disney. It's below 200 gems, so it's like, it's going to be one of those NFTs that people initially sell off, 2.5% fee, so you're going to get the most out of it. It's just one of those things where it's like, those will have their day, but it's just going to take a while. A time will come when we get some like very bullish news on like the Veveverse or something, but yeah, at least of right now, like, it's definitely more of a short-term play. Like, there was even a time where, I mean, I bought 2 Ecto 1 commons for I think like 115, and once it hit 140, I'm like, should I just flip these now? And I'm like, no, wait, maybe it'll keep running. And then I waited like 12 hours. Like, the next morning, it was already down to like 125. I'm like, well, never mind. Like, it's just pretty erratic. You just have to be very quick on the trigger if you want to do that and go for like a quick flip. I would say, like, there's not a lot of NFTs you could like flip very quickly, but that's probably one of them, actually. Like DeLoreans, Ecto 1s, like, sometimes there's like good like little like 20, like, let's pull it up really quick. Sometimes there's good little like 20-30 gem swings that happen in there. Like, if you're trying to make a quick buck, or if you don't have like, good God, I should not have said that. Like, well, make a quick buck, like a get rich quick scheme. But you notice that like it does have some movement. Like, back here, like 20 gem swing. You know, this last month has been kind of an anomaly. But then again, with all the like big announcements that are coming out, new IPs, like every month might be an anomaly month. Like, well, this announced, so that's kind of weird. Okay, this announced, that's kind of like, can't take that into consideration. But I did notice that mostly like the Ecto one, I think did have some like movement. The entire market pumped, yeah. Can you help us read charts? What should we look for when we are looking for like smart invest in? Any red flags? I'd be kind of hesitant. Like if you're gonna go for like a long-term investment, try and get something higher value. Like, cause like I said before, like if all you have is like 300 gems to your name, like you really just need to kind of like find smaller things to flip until you can afford something that's like north of like 800 gems or so. Like those things do move, like you saw with Joker. Like it's still dipping like right now, but like some of those NFTs, like other than of course the most recent time that literally happened with like Spider-Man and all that stuff, and Batman Who Laughs, like they just kind of just get stuck in this like weird just trend of nothing happening. And like there could be a point where it just pops off. When it does pop off, like if you're noticing your NFT is pumping 40-50%, in my personal opinion, don't try and sell at the top. Like maybe when the DeLoreans were at like 145, maybe list one at 155, another one at 165, another one at 175, because you just never know. Because when you try to sell off at this point, when it hits 185 or like 180, people are already undercutting. And then you list yours, and once people that were buying are noticing that people are undercutting or there's cheaper prices showing up, it's going to be very hard to sell them. So like that's kind of my take on it. But like reading graphs and stuff, it really depends. Like what specific things like you're looking for. Mostly just it's mostly just like brands and IPs that I typically look at. When you see a big spike like this, like obviously don't buy at the top. It's like mostly like, are you looking to buy or sell? Like it's kind of hard. Like it's a lot to cover in like the like market analytics and stuff. Veve King, definitely appreciate the advice. Of course, dude. Go to Wally, please. Yes, I've already covered Wally. Spider Zero, Supergirl pumped was the hype of Superman, and people were looking to buy her because she was cheaper and went back. So she got caught up in the like FA, like blue chip kind of pump and stuff. Like I would consider, I think Superman was considered a blue chip. I might still call him like a blue chip, but he's like on the kind of low end of blue chip. He might be like, I might consider more like very high tier, like S tier is blue chip in my opinion. Like you can't go wrong. I mean, you can't go wrong with Superman either, but like he might be just an extremely solid investment, like very, very high A tier. Like he might skip back and forth between blue chip to me, but it's just like I just think there's other IPs or just like other characters that can do that have like a bit more movement than he can, either at the same price point or just like you could just stack 3 or 4 of like a different NFT that will move more than he does. Will the thrill? Can you, okay, yeah, I already read that. Sorry, Gasto, I think that's your name. I have the ultra rare Steamboat Willie. Should I flip my set of DC girls for the common and uncommon Steamboat to complete the Steamboat set? Let me look at the said the DC girls. So what are those again? Those are it's not the bombshells. It's like the cover girls, right? I think this is the one you mean, cover girls. So flip this set. Supergirl, okay, of the ultra rare. I have the ultra rare Steamboat Willie. Should I flip my set of DC girls? Okay, I'm assuming it's this. Obviously, don't sell them all at the same time. I do think Supergirl has some room to move. Catwoman, let's see where she's at. She pumped pretty well. Like now's a pretty decent time to, if you can, sell her. Like again, like you're never gonna catch her at her peak again. I'm more afraid that like Steamboat Willie might run away in the next like few weeks, maybe a month, before you get like, oh, I get an extra 50 gems or an extra 100 gems out of Catwoman. Like even if you sold all these for floor price, so what is that, 650 or no, let's just call that 700, 800, 2000. Yeah, you could probably afford it. We'd have to like look at the floor for Supergirl, but like if you can make that trade, it's hard. Like these are all FAs. That's actually a good question. I just think steamboats will do well because they're all connected. If the ultra rare pumps really well, typically it seems like that the uncommon and common will follow suit. So any kind of movement that happens with any of the three, the other ones, maybe not to an exact percentage, like, oh, Steamboat Willie went up 50%, or, you know, let's just say 10%. That means the uncommon will follow 5%, and then like the common will follow 5%. Like, it doesn't work that way. But I just don't see like, oh, if Catwoman or Batgirl does really well, it's not going to pull up Supergirl or Mara at the same time, right? Like, just because they're the same set, like they're unrelated characters. Even though it's the same set, they're unrelated to each other, not like tied together. Because people are looking for a buying opportunity. If Supergirl pumps, or not Supergirl, but if Steamboat Willie pumps, people are like, oh wow, I think the common and uncommon are going to follow suit, and they buy those. Like, more than likely, people might FOMO into it. But if you can make that trade overall, I would probably say yes. I think the fact earlier that I said I would rather have an uncommon Steamboat Willie than Supergirl probably also means I would trade a Mira, a Batgirl, and a Catwoman for like a common. So I would take your time with it. I think Catwoman is a pretty decent price point now to sell it, because again, I don't. She might not stay at that point value or that price point the whole time. Yeah, you could probably get an extra 50 gems at a Batgirl, but again, if you wait 2 weeks, Steamboat Willie might go up quite a bit. So Batgirl could be a good time. Mara, a little on the low side. Again, I think this pump is a bit much. I don't think she's like truly gonna hit like 400 again for a while. And Supergirl, that's up to your personal judgment. Like, if you could sell them all for floor price and pick those two up, just secure it. Don't like wait around it to, you know, get an extra 100 gems out of Supergirl, and like now Steamboat Willie just runs away. Like, again, I put more value in just securing things than trying to get the most gems out of it, right? Especially if you're going towards something, right? What's it called? I used to play college football, and one of my favorite quotes my coach would tell me, which was, he's like, play slow but react fast. Like, play the market slow, but if you see an opportunity, you got to like react fast, right? So it's the same thing. You know, you're playing the market slow, you had the set for a while, but like you see an opportunity for Steamboat Willies, you have an ultra rare, like just react and do it, especially if you can afford all those straight up. Viking Veve King new Wally movie in June. Ooh, okay. That's sick. I had no idea, to be honest, about that. That's pretty cool. Do I think it's gonna make Wally double in price? Unlikely. We'll probably see a healthy pump when like it was initially announced. It'll plateau, and then a month prior it might see a little pump. But I think the same thing might happen to it as we did with like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or No Way Home, whatever the most recent movie. I haven't seen it yet. I should, and I want to. But like people thought that was gonna pump like through the movie, and like for a week after, like it actually kind of died off like a week before the movie was even released, because I think the hype already happened, and like people are like, all right, I'm gonna sell it off now before, you know, it pumps and I just can't sell it anymore, right? So that would be my expectation of what's gonna happen to Wally. Gotti have the Steamboat set, Wally, Wonder Woman, and Deadpool common. Hell yeah, dude. That's a solid set. I would hold that, and then you know, keep an eye out for other flips you could potentially do. You have the Steamboat Willie set, Wally, Wonder Woman, and Deadpool common. I'm trying to think of like some potentially like horizontal trades or something like that, but like it's unlikely. That's really solid. Like, I don't think you need to like consolidate that again if you do see an NFT that you want to trade them for, which I can't think of like off the top of my head. The only thing I can maybe think of is like, even that would be like a little bit too much effort. Like a Wally and Deadpool common for like a rare Spidey? Maybe not. I would do it, but I have a feeling it might be sentimental to you. I could be wrong. Joshua Trong, well, what do you think about SR Deadpool? He's great. Someone actually gave me a really good comparison the other day. They said no, it's not Superman. It was Becky Cloonan Batman. Put in Becky. Give me that Becky. So Becky Cloonan Batman, who's pretty solid. I would say she's probably number 4, maybe number 3, like best Batman. So it goes like Todd, Rizzo, and of course that's not just price point. Like, it's not just about price. It's just about like how iconic the piece is as well as price, right? Probably goes like Todd, Rizzo, or, you know, tied for first, whatever. I like Joe Mad, and then like the Becky Cloonan Batman's good too. But they were like, oh, should I get Becky Cloonan or Secret Rare Deadpool? and I was like, all right, I'm looking at Becky Cloonan, pretty good price point. She whatever, peaked at 3,900, which is pretty solid. Like the mints are low, 3,200, 3,250. So I looked at Deadpool. Whoops, come on, work with me here. Until I saw the secret rare. How much is it now? I just passed it. Yeah, it's a bit more than the Becky Cloonan one, but I'm like, if someone's gonna come on the app and buy a Batman, they have a lot of options, and they might not. They have a lot of options, but there's only one Deadpool on the platform, or at least like one series like this on the platform. And if they want the best Deadpool, they're gonna buy the secret rare. So I do think the secret rare Deadpool will do better. And plus, so much hype around Deadpool right now. I think isn't he getting like a new movie or some sort of cameo? Or like there's something going on with him. Probably multiple things going on with him over the next this next year. But I do think Deadpool, the secret rare, will do better than the Becky Cloonan Batman. That's just my opinion. There's just so much hype around Deadpool, and like this is the best version of it that currently exists, like on the current format. So Becky Cloonan, like cool, but like that same person that could be a buyer for Becky Cloonan, they might look at Joe Mad, or they might look at some of the other Batmans, or again, they might settle for one of the cheaper Batmans because they also want Joker, and now they're kind of splitting their money. Like I haven't really taken a close look at like every single black and white Batman. Yeah, like if they have, what's it called? If they have 3,000 gems or 2,500 gems, like they could just get a Joe Mad Batman and like you know, whatever, a Joker or whatever like that. They could split their money that way if they wanted to, right? So that's why I'm pushing Joker, not Joker, Deadpool in that instance. So I really like secret rare Deadpool. Is it good when I get a comic? Is it good when I get a comic to mint price? To mint price, comic to mint price. I don't know what you mean. Fab King, elaborate on that. I'm not sure what you're asking. Maybe it's just because it might be kind of late and I'm like a little tired, but that's why I have this drink here. Gotti asks, what's the difference between FA and FE? So FA is technically the first appearance of it. I don't know how they do it. So if we look at Todd. So I think how they do FAs is like, okay, even though, I'll have to move my camera here. Even though, because I have to scroll down here. I don't know why it says this is part of the same series 1 drop, because I thought the first drop was technically just Todd and Rizzo. Then they released the other 2 later. I don't know what's up with that, or maybe ecomi wiki's wrong. I could be wrong. Or maybe just whatever. So technically the first one minted of this set, they're all different Batmans, but like Todd is first. That was the first one that was minted, even though it's multiple Batmans. So if Todd was the first one that was minted, the rest of them are part of the same set, so they're first edition. I'll be honest, I'm not completely familiar or like know how they do first editions, because then they had like a completely different set of Captain America, like outside of Marvel Mighty's version, like Steve Rogers. So Steve Rogers is the FA, but a completely different set of Captain America's FE. So that's one question I'm kind of curious about, like how they actually determine something is FE. FA makes sense. It's like, it's the first appearance, like in NFT format. Like Walt in Mickey is technically the first time Mickey appeared. So that's a first appearance of Mickey that's appeared in like an NFT space. But FE, it's like, all right, does it have to be part of that initial series with the FA? Or is that something entirely different? I'm not entirely certain, to be honest, but first appearance is considered like the gold standard, because if you know anything about comics, baseball, like sports cards, anything like that, like the first appearance or like the rookie year or something is like an extremely big deal. I know not Kobe Collects, sorry. Great content creator, by the way, but Cody Thrive, that's for thinking of C name. Cody Thrive, he's done a lot of trade. I haven't really watched him that much. He seems to have some good points. He's kind of new to the space. But he talked about how, like, you know, you have athletes that have been playing for 20 years. Like, the rookie year is always going to be the most expensive than the other 19 years of cards that's about them. So kind of the same thing here. Like, as more Batmans get released, people are always going to look to the FAs and like first editions to be like the best ones, or like the best versions, right? So I kind of hope that explains it. Like, I would love to ask that like in an AMA. I'm sure people have asked it before. Like, I'm sure it's probably a consideration between Veve and the licensor, like coming up with an actual definition for it. But Weintraub, since Disney owns ESPN, maybe we'll see some sports NFTs in the future. Potentially. Like there's DC Direct, like that's a different IP than just like straight up just DC. I know there's like NFL. There's like NFL and there's like NFL something else. I'm trying to remember. Like there's like 2 different brands or like licenses there. Like I know a lot of like the like game stores or like comic shops or whatever. Like they would have a license with the NFL, but not directly. Like they could sell cards or like posters of athletes, but they couldn't show like the logo of like the team or whatever. So like they couldn't show like Tom Brady. Like they can't show the Buccaneers like logo, but they can show Tom Brady. They can sell a card of him or whatever, like his image, but they can't show the Buccaneers. So I think he's on the same team, right? I don't know. Like honestly, I like football, but I haven't really been following football all that much. So I don't even know like which players on which teams, but I think Tom Brady's on the Buccaneers. I could be completely wrong. So I think something could similar happen, but I thought I heard that Veve did not secure the license of like the NFL or whatever. So, and even then it'd be big in the US, but like internationally, it probably wouldn't do that well. So that might be why. I don't know. Let's see here. Okay. Frank Mong. Sorry if I butchered that. I buy one at 78. I buy one at $78, 1,051. Okay. All right, I don't know if you asked a question earlier. I'm not sure what that references to, but Dylan Barley asks, is it better to buy Todd or diversify one Superman, one Elsa, one Joker? It depends on your situation, dude. Like I'm not a huge believer in like if literally all you're gonna put in is you know whatever Todd's at like 12K right now. If all you're gonna do is put 12K into the app and you just buy one NFT like and like you're not gonna put any more money in or whatever, like I'm not a huge fan of just like riding the entire Veve experience on one NFT and you're just kind of like passively just watching everything just happen, you know. If that's the case, I'd maybe diversify, even though I do think Todd could maybe hit 100K by the end of this year, or even if he falls short, like even if he falls at like 80K, are people gonna get upset? Like no. 60K, like no. So I don't think so, but for the most part, if that's all you have, I would diversify a bit so you can actually play with some money, do some flips, that kind of stuff. But if you already have a little portfolio, if you got some gems set aside, or if you like got a lot to invest, like I would definitely get Todd. In my opinion, Todd. Bob McTeague, Superman chilled between 800 and 1100 for like 5 months. Yeah, that was a different time on the app though. Like, I mean, how many people were on Veve then? Like 200,000, like not even 100,000. I'm not entirely sure. That's why I kind of take into consideration with these charts is like October Veve looks very different than January Veve. Like even just that 2 month, 3 month difference. Huge difference. Like we're just exponentially getting more people, exponentially getting more gems in the market, which is why, you know, it's hard to compare. Like I used to make that analogy. I'd be like, well, you know, looking at, what is this, Todd? Yeah, this is Todd. So it's like, well, should you buy, what's like a equivalent thing? Like Steamboat Willie. So Steamboat Willie's at 10K, even though Todd's a bit more. It's like, well, Steamboat Willie hit 10K in a month, and Todd, it took him, I mean, over a year to hit 12K or 14. Like it took him so long, but like the app was just so different. I think more closely you need to look at like, all right, Todd was at Steamboat Willie was released what? Steamboat Willie released what, like late December? So let's just say this. So Todd was at, Jesus Christ. Todd was at 3,100 when Steamboat Willie, I think, was released. Maybe he went up to 37, whatever. In the same time, Steamboat Willie went up to 10K. Todd went up to 14. So Steamboat Willie, when he came out, peaked at like 6 and then went down to like 4.5. And I think he chilled at like 4.5. Maybe went down to 4 for a while. Like Todd was at like 3.5 for a while, and he peaked at 14. You definitely went to 14. I know this says it's a bit shy, but like, I think you need to look more closely at that rather than just like what the time length was, right? Because Veve was so different. It's even different when I started, like in November. Like, I can even tell the app is different. Like, everything is different. But I get what you mean, Bob. Like, it makes sense. Like, if the market was the same, I'd be like, yeah, like we need to look at this. But it's literally ever changing. Set with the Supergirl, cool, thanks, awesome. Spider Zero, hoping the Master Collector points are used for a lot of cool stuff. Since I joined Veve 8 to 9 months ago, I have been working with that in mind. 1,419, 1,419 collectibles, 70 sets, not counting dupe sets. That is absurd, dude. So that's amazing. Like, you're the type of whales I would be going up against when it comes to Master Collector program, which is why personally I'm not very bullish on it. And I'm not saying that because like, oh, you're bullying me out of me winning potentially. Like, there's more than enough, you know, NFTs to go around and winning. Like, I like to have more of like an abundance mindset. But then again, if you're looking at crunchy numbers, like limited mints, limited stuff like that, like that's a bit different. But at the same time, I just don't really see a lot of benefit. Like, just having everything just be chance based and like a separate lottery system and all that stuff, like in my mind, it's, at least from where I'm at right now, like financially, like I don't have the finances to put a bunch of money in Veve or even any money in Veve right now. I've just gotten lucky with some drops and I've just learned to reinvest and make money that way, or just flip stuff. And like, it just, in my mind, it's just hard to like grasp at the sense of like, I'm gonna invest, you know, 1,800 gems towards getting X amount of Master Collector points because I really want the Master Collector points. It's like, or I could just get a rare Spider-Man that might go up to like 3K in a few weeks or a month, and I could just flip that or do something else with it. Like, in my mind, that's just how my mind works. So it's like, I just don't see enough incentive to like basically spend a bunch of gems for a random raffle of a chance that I'm going to be competing whales for, which is why I hope they add more utility or something to the Master Collector program. Because right now it's like, other than having a random chance of winning a portion of the mints on raffles or whatever it is, like I don't really see a huge reason to go for it, or at least spend an exponential amount of money on. Now, if you have the money to do it, like, sure, why the hell not? Like do what you do. Like, and that's the other thing too. Like, if I invested into like a Mermacorno set and I got a bunch of mints, it's not like that money stops. Like those Mermacornos are accumulating value, right? I just think if I invested in something like Rare Spider-Man, that would just accumulate more value quicker overall. Just my 2 cents. But Spider Zero, dude, that's an amazing collection. I mean, that puts you, you know, the top 1% of 1% with a collection like that. That's awesome. Slade, what would you buy with a 9K ball balance wallet? I don't know. 9K? And if that's all you had? Spider-Man? Let's go to Spider-Man first. What has he got? What's going on there? $9K. Maybe get like, I'm trying to think, it's like, I don't want to make sure I'm not like overlooking anything right now either. And like, and that's the other thing too. It's like, a part of me just wanted to be like, all right, get 3 Spider-Mans, get 3 rares, and then just start like, I mean, that puts you at like 5.5K, which leaves you with like 3.5 left. Then it's like, all right, buy both Steamboat Willie, like the common and uncommon, stack something else. But like, if you want to diversify more than that, or if you're interested in other things, like that makes a difference too. Like if you're going to drop that kind of money, you want profit, but you also want NFTs you actually believe in, right? Like if you're just more bullish on DC and you just like DC more, like you're more likely to hold it and not bail out than if it was just Spider-Man. Like you couldn't care less about Spider-Man, but if you just want the money, Spider-Man's, maybe like snag a Joker. I'm trying to think like what else is like, I'm trying to like, I need to like look at the market more because I know I'm taking suggestions, but like one of these days I really just need to like comb through the market and just try and find stuff that I think is like very undervalued. What I would say is like, if you had 9K, I'd spend like 7.5 on things like Spider-Man, and like Spider-Man, both Steamboat Willies, like the common and uncommon, and then kind of like whatever else, like anything that's DC Marvel related. Then like try and save like 400 gems for like maybe some like solid stacks. Like stack some like Deadpools, stack some common Alligator Lokis. Like those are solid stacks, and just try and find a way to like passively make income while your big ticket NFTs are just accumulating value long term, right? It's like that way you can just stay in the game and you can keep playing it. But that's my suggestion. So I kind of hope that helps. If you want me to go in depth, like please ask again, because if you're willing to drop 9K on Veve, that'd be my take. And that's the thing you can do. You can just buy six rare Spider-Mans if you want to. Maybe that's 6-5, but like, you know what I mean? It's everyone's thing is different. Toss me a sniper. You think when the details of the mini drop come out, will there be a big gem squeeze? Want to grab at FA Joker and rare Spider-Man when the squeeze happens? It entirely depends on what the announcement is. If it's just mini and she's part of like a poster, there's like a cards or whatever. If it's just a single drop mini and it's just her with, you know, looking the way she does, maybe a tiny dip on like not as significant as it was with Batman, but we'll see a small dip. Now, if it's a blind box format and let's say it's one card, but there's between the common, you know, uncommon, between the different rarities, she might be wearing different outfits, different clothing. Maybe the secret rare is holographic, like whatever it is. That's a big deal because that would also, I believe, be this first secret rare that Disney's released, like of a direct Disney license, like not including Spider-Man or whatever, but like a direct Disney thing. Because like Walt is an ultra rare, Mickey's an ultra rare. Like I don't think Disney has any secret rare stuff. So if they did like a blind box format where there's the different rarities, like that would be a huge deal. So I could definitely see a dip with that because now we're talking like higher rarity stuff with mini. That's probably like the mid-tier thing that would probably cause a dip. The biggest dip that would happen, in my opinion, would be if they did 3D or if they did posters. I'm just going to stick with the poster analogy or card. If they did a poster or a card and they had multiple FAs, like here's Minnie, here's Goofy, here's Pluto, here's you know, the rest of the cast that have yet to be released on Disney. That's multiple FAs, and they're all low mint. They're all below 10,000 or whatever. Like that would be a very significant drop, in my opinion. So I know they teased many, but there's a chance that there could be multiple FAs. If there's multiple FAs, then yeah, we'll see a huge drop in the market, in my opinion. Nothing like golden moments, nothing like you know, nothing like golden moments like this. It's not going to just drop off a sheer you know, cliff or whatever. But I can see a pretty significant hit. That's the dips in order. Let's see here. Catching up, Enlightened Indigo. Give me your thoughts on utility coming to these NFT collectibles. I couldn't tell you, dude. Not entirely sure. Like, I like speculating on stuff, but like actual utility, that's completely up into the licensor. It's probably a bit easier to like come up with the utility for like Disney stuff because there's Disneyland and there's a lot of ways to like interact with that brand and IP, like just Disney. But like with DC, like get discount on comics, like tickets. Like I don't know how, you know, maybe you get a physical collectible, like that could be a thing. Like not entirely certain, but yeah, we would like tinfoil hat pretty hard if we had to. Let's see. Goat of Goats, what's up, dude? Sorry, JDR, forgot that. Wonder Woman left her $300 floor in the market. Everything in Veve changed, in my opinion. Oh yeah. I mean, even before that too, but like that was just after the 12 days of Veve pump. You had a lot of people joining the app, a lot of gems in the market, and people are like, what should I buy? All right, I see things going up in price. And that's the other thing too, like people that joined because of 12 days of Veve, either because of a friend or whatever, like even if they got halfway through Veve, they're like, all right, like, hey, I can get this drop thing. Like, oh, I didn't get the drop. So what was it, 50 gems? Like, wait, this is selling on the market for 500 gems? Like, I think there's some money that could be had here. And then, yep, some people that have so much money, they're like, all right, I want to throw 20K at this. Like, what should I buy? And of course, their friend that's actually knowledgeable in the market, they're like, all right, well, you should probably get a Todd. You know, Superman's solid. Wonder Woman's a good FA. Like, whatever. Like, and it started at the top and worked its way down. So all the blue chips and like the A tier NFTs, then B tier, then whatever. So I think like Wonder Woman was part of that second wave of pumps. So, and she got caught up with like Supergirl and all that other stuff. So yeah, after that everything changed. That's when the Fire Nation attacked. Everything changed. Now we can get the Goat of Goats. Hey! Goat of Goats, what should I buy? Under 500 gems. Yo, my guy, Veve Vibe, says Illmatics. What's up, dude? Under 500 gems. This is where I need to like kind of like get more, not creative, but just like spread out, because like 500 gems is the range where it's like, all right, should we get one that's like 400 gems, 450, 500, or should we just go for like some solid stacks that are like 150? Like, should we just get 3 Deadpools, 3 uncommon Deadpools, or get 2 Snow Globes? Should we get 6 Alligator Loki like commons or whatever? Like, could do all that, but since you're asking 500, or like, since you're not asking for a stack, I'll try and do that. Kind of need to expand more. I'm not recommending this one. I'm just curious about the price. Bubbles? Not bubbles. The hell is it? I do think Adventure Time NFTs are like very slept on. I'm not saying to buy them. I'm just talking just in general. This is not related to what you asked. It's just gonna take a while for these to pump. Like, I honestly think Finn Mertens is actually not a bad like quote unquote day trading thing. Like, this dude is just springboarded the last like week between like 170 and like 200, and I think you can actually maybe do a little bit of margin trading with like Finn Mertens, because that's another thing too. Like, that could be a nice little way to actually make some money, is like find some NFTs that are like below 200 that do move a lot. Could potentially make some margin trading there, but under 500, I think I said one earlier, like Robin, like I think he's only like 250, 300. I'm kind of struggling to think of like NFTs that are like in the like 400 to 500 range that I think are solid. Like, I don't know, Zombie Hunter Spider-Man is very, very good for 300. It's actually very solid. Like I said before, I bought 9 of them at 280 a while back, and I managed to sell a little bit more than half for a profit. I'm holding on a couple more until the price goes up again. But I think Zombie Spider-Man is very solid. There's some other ones. I thought I had some other ones on here. Below 500. Yeah, see, that's the weird range. Like, there's not a lot of like very solid. Catwoman, I think the last time we saw her, she was at 420. Yeah. Like, at that point, I'd rather just stack. Like she doesn't have that much room to go. Like, she peaked at 470. Like, I'd rather just, like I said, just stack Deadpools, or you can just get like 2 Snow Globes for the same price. I also want to find some suggestions that are like more solid. Stack, like, where's Sue Storm? Probably type in Invisible Woman. Invisible Woman. Okay, Invisible ones are bad. Let's see, where's the uncommons? Wow, uncommons are a bit higher. I think I'd rather go Storm than Sue Storm. Funny enough, pun intended. Where's just because Storm has a double FA of X-Men as well as FA of her. Let's look at Storm. I think she's at like 90 though. Like, I think yeah, she's almost double the price of that. Like, the common's at 90. Yeah, same thing with the uncommon, or the uncommon's 100. So she's a bit more, but I would still think like Storm is a better like stack to have. Like, if you compared those two together. Yeah, I wish I had some better suggestions, dude. Like, over the next like day or two, I do want to find some solid NFTs. You know, like a single NFT. It's just hard because, like I said, below 500 gems, that's when you start considering like, all right, should I just get one NFT, or should I just stack some solid stuff that are between like 50 to 150 gems and just do that? Because those might get you more mileage. Plus, you can sell those off steadily, especially if there's like a drop coming up. Like, that's much easier to sell off stuff than just like one big hitting like 500 gem NFT, right? That's just my thought. Maddox, Veve King, new drop system is going to kill any chance of getting drops. They need to use the blind box blueprint for all drops. I think so too. I think it would be cool if they did the blind box drop occasionally, or maybe they split it up where like, all right, you can either do the blind box system or the queue system. I have no idea how they would divide up the mints that way, but I think blind box is the most fair system. It's also the one that, in my opinion, probably gets a little less botted. Like you can still buy, it's still gonna, you know, when the buy button shows up, it's still gonna get botted, like regardless. But at least they just can't farm like the secret rares, the ultra rares. Like they can't just grab all the high end stuff and like now the only things that have it are just the bots, right? So it's kind of in the sense of like what's most fair, in my opinion, because blind box you don't know what you're gonna get. So yeah, I made a video probably around New Year's talking about how I think the queue system is going to completely flip the market on its head, because there's a lot of people that have gotten so good at drops, like comics, blind box drops, where they actually use it as a steady means of income. Like people are like, all right, there's 2 comic drops this week plus 2 collectible drops. Like, all right, I'll probably win one of the comic drops and make like 30-40 gems. I'll probably win one of the collectible drops. I could probably flip that for an additional like 150 gems. Like, all right, cool. I could just, people just use it as a passive source of income because they've gotten so good. They have insane internet, a crazy phone. They mastered the techniques. But you take that passive income away, now what are they going to do? They're going to have to learn how to play the secondary market. And if you thought the secondary market was crazy now, it's going to be even more crazy, because not only are there more people, but also like those people that were really good at drops, they're not getting them. Now they're going to turn the secondary market to buy them. So, but it's also a trade-off too, because the people that are either new to the app or not as experienced actually like winning drops, people are like, oh my God, like this is the second thing I've ever won on Veve, and I've been on the app for 4 months. They might mislist the stuff. Like they might put it for too low of a price, drop a low mint for floor. They could literally mislist it. Like instead of 1.2K, they might put 1.2 gems. Like that happens all the time. That's what happened with the last drop. So it also seems bots tend to do that. Like it always seems to be a first and a last name and like a number. It's always like Daniel Rodriguez 79 post it, and then it's always like a first and last name plus 2 digits. Like it's likely a bot, but whatever. So I do think the queue system is going to flip the market on its head, and a lot of people that use it as a passive source of income and maybe use those gems for like riskier plays or secure grails, they're just going to consolidate everything that's not DC, Disney, or Marvel, consolidate all the other NFTs and just buy grails, and then that's it. Then I think that's when the grails are going to run away and really be unattainable, in my opinion. Just my 2 cents. I've thought about this for a while, and I do think probably one of the biggest catalysts is going to be the queue system in the market, and NFTs are just going to be insanely hard to acquire. I could be wrong though. Like off the secondary market. Bob, do you find the $10 to $15 a month, is it worth for a pro functionality on ecomi wiki? Yes, I mean if you use it as much as I do, and you have a YouTube channel and you're trying to show people it, it's great. Reading the charts might be a bit difficult. One of these days, like maybe I'll do a tutorial video on like how to read the charts. I know Omi the Clown did say like he wanted to do more like community related videos on like just about ecomi wiki, Veve, like it doesn't matter, just anything about Veve. But I think a video like a tutorial how to roughly read the charts, because like it depends between IP. Like when if I saw something like this on like Decon or like an independent artist or like Adventure Time, I'm reacting to it a bit differently than if it was like, you know, an FA Storm, that's also FA, X-Men, that's also a Marvel character. Like that's, you have to read it a bit differently, but it's mostly just this or that. It's hard to see if like this is a good investment when you see these 2 lines, and like it's not as mathematical as you can with like market, like actual like stock market predictions and stuff, because again, all it takes is one tweet, one announcement, one thing, and like everything just crashes or goes up or pumps in price. Like there's an infinite amount of it. Same thing with stocks too. There's a bunch of variables, but like especially with NFTs, it's an entirely new and experimental space that like anything that gets announced, like people are very trigger happy on Veve. Like, oh, we can breed labbits, like skyrocket, everything skyrockets, and then oh, it kind of died out, or Veve didn't announce or confirm or deny it, all right, crash. Like I don't know. Toss me a sniper slot. I'm a sucker for R2. He's solid. Too bad not enough people bought him when he was like below 3K, but you know, it is what it is. Inline Indigo, I feel like the OG Devil Bunny should be able to mine master collector points if you would bring dope utility to the NFT collectible. Potentially. I do think I think mostly like the 2D art would do very well off platform, like on Immutable X, which is why I think I've seen a pump recently. Plus, I think there's been some people on Twitter like kind of pumping the 2D art. That's from like Decon and stuff. But yeah, not too. I think I think I did have a red devil bunny. I think that's one. I think it's the red devil bunny OG. I forgot what it's called. I had one for a while and I actually held it for quite some time, but I ended up selling it. Not too bullish on like the decon stuff, to be quite honest. Like certain ones, yes. Little Friends, I think could do very well just because super low mints. There's a ton of memes around like Ape Gang, Gorilla Gang, Ape No Hurt Ape, like all those like memes and, you know, the AMC GameStop stuff that happened a while back. Plus there's like an organized community behind it. Like if you want to get like the Omikong's gang, like you need to have one. So it does help that there's like an organized community behind it as well. Zach, I got the first Batman, the first black and white Batman set. Some people see that as a BAYC of Veve. What's your opinion on BAYC? Sorry if I don't understand that term. BAYC. Let me look that up. I could be like completely wrong. BAYC. Oh, Bored Ape Yacht Club. Okay, yeah. Potentially. I could see that. I could definitely see Todd's being one, but to make it even more exclusive, you could do like Todd and Rizzo or like that first set for sure. I could see that happening. I could see like a Todd club and then like a set season 1 set, a black and white series set being like an even more exclusive group. Who knows? Like literally it's all, that's kind of the fun part of NFTs because a lot of it can be community driven. And so people put value in different things. Like it's funny because people were, because I know there's still like that Holy Trinity group that you need like, was it Secret Rare Spider-Man, Todd, or Superman? Like, all right, is Superman really on par with Todd and or like Secret Rare Spider-Man anymore? Like not really. Like could they replace it with something else? Like maybe, but yeah. Trust me, Sniper, I feel like it's going to be a blind box with the whole squad, like Goofy, Pluto, everyone else, because it says the collection is Mickey and Friends. True. There is also like the Mickey Mouse like collection too. I believe it's a series or whatever, so there might be additional stuff. But it does say Minnie and Friends, so yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Do you have a Twitter I could follow? It should be down in the description of this stream. So my Twitter is there. If not, you can just look up VV_vibes. I might have to change that so it doesn't have the underscore, but Mendez Flips, get Marvel Comics #1, Ultraman common. Not too bullish on like Ultraman. I think it's too reliant on like how the Chinese like NFT government thing plays out. I don't think we're gonna have localization for Mandarin until like early next year. It's just like, I will admit, like that could be one of the biggest payoffs like on Veve, like potentially ever if it pays off. But I've also heard from people that claim to be from the Southeast Asian like market, or at least understand it very well, and said that like the Ultraman we have now is not the same Ultraman that they're familiar with. It's not like the original OG Superman or Ultraman, that it's like the Marvel Mighty's version of it. It's like the second generation of it. Like it's the son of the original Ultraman. So like might not do as well, but who knows? But the posters I heard are like, that is the OG. That itself is like the OG Ultraman. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not entirely certain. So I don't know enough about it. It's all hearsay. But like Ultraman common for 113, it could be like a worthwhile investment. It's not ridiculous. Like if this thing was like 400 gems, I'd be like, you're better off just getting like more internationally recognized like superheroes rather than like just this, right? Or no, that's the poster. Common 500. Yeah, I'd rather invest in like more internationally recognized superheroes than spend 500. Like I know he's picked at 800, but that just seems way too convenient during like the whole peak of like, oh, trying to legalize NFTs and all that stuff. So that's just me personally. Wild morning, did I miss anything big? It's almost 11 o'clock here in 12 minutes. Miss anything big? Not really. No announcements from Veve or anything like that recently. I think everyone's just holding on for the mini announcement. We haven't done this yet. Go ahead and take a quick look at the top losers. Starfire's down. I think Starfire could be a bit of a sleeper. People that are a fan of like the Teen Titans, and I know she's been in some other groups as well. I remember telling people to buy her when she was at 1,700. I told people to buy her like a week and a half ago. I'm like, dude, I think Starfire for 1,700, it's like a good steal. Like extremely low mints. Part of a she's a 1-of-1 set. FA, part of the Teen Titans, and I know Starfire's been in some other groups too. Like comics, and she's been actually in quite a few like different like entertainment mediums like that. And she did pump to 3,300, but like she just hasn't been able to recover. And I think she'll have her time to shine, but it's just I just don't see it happen anytime soon. Plus, she's literally at an all-time high for listings, so people are just trying to get rid of her at this point. So could be a decent time to buy, but like I would have to look at the market, or at least like the floor and stuff to see what's happening. And especially if we get any kind of mini announcement like tomorrow or the next day, this will just drop even lower. So. But yeah, Wild, no, you haven't missed anything big yet. Maybe later today, your time zone, there could be a Minnie Mouse announcement. Well, it's public standard time, or Pacific Standard Time, so maybe 12 hours from now, we might get an announcement for like Minnie. Who knows? Bob, I've gotten my lowest mint drops when I'm not even home on Gigabit, but when I'm just walking around, dude, that's solid. Bullish on Harley Quinn? Yes. It's definitely up there. I'm not I don't recommend it over like other certain NFTs, but yeah, I like Harley a lot. I talk about Harley in general, or like the FA Harley? Probably just Harley in general, right? Actually, we should probably refresh this. It's been a while since we've refreshed this. Harley. I like Harley a lot. If we're talking the FA version, and you can't afford Steamboat Willie, she's really solid. I like her at 872 or like 870. Let's go and pull her up. Total listed 173 or 1. Yeah, like again, I ignore all this stuff like way back here. Like I'm not sure what happened back here. Like every NFT at this point is like just ridiculously high. Well, like my graph is just lagging right now. So give me a sec. Do I have to reload this? Let's just give it a quick refresh. But I do like Harley, and the fact that she's not hard crashing like she did peak at, of course, when it refreshes, it shows up again. She has some room to grow. She peaked at 1,200. She's at 850. I mean, she's literally 33% off. 30 to 25% off. So I do think it's a solid pickup. It might take her some time to catch up to that price again, but I do think it's a solid pickup if you can't afford Steamboat Willie. Yeah, this thing is kind of reaching its wit's end right now, it seems. Potentially. I'm gonna try and get through these chats. I'll probably end stream here in like 10 or 15 minutes, but I really appreciate you, all you guys being here. Like, I've been on Veve for like 3.5 months. I made this channel about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. Just want to share my information. I've done a lot of flipping, been very successful. And yeah, I would love to collaborate with like more people. I love talking about, because I don't think there's enough content creators talking about helping out newer people to the app, or hey, I have this budget, what should I spend it on? It does seem like a lot of content creators just focus on Todds and Waltz and like all these like very high-end like NFTs, but like there's not enough people talking about like, hey, what should I invest in this, or is this a good trade for that? And Randy Chavez does a very good job. I kind of want to branch out and understand things that aren't like DC, Marvel, and Disney related. Like try and branch out and recommend some NFTs in that space. It's just tough to do it because it's just hard to. Like, as much as I want to recommend something like Silver Apes, like a Silver Ape, it's been stuck at around 1,000 for 3 weeks. It hasn't moved much. Does it have a lot of potential? Yes, but it's just the stuff that has the most movement and that's the most profitable is those 3 big IPs. So Do we know any more about this Minnie Mouse drop yet? Not yet. I think in the next 12 hours, hopefully we'll get something. If not, we might have to wait till the next day after. C. Rios, what do you think about the high end of 2022 for Steamboat Willie? It's hard to tell. Like, doing price predictions a year out, this is like before Mutable X, before MTL, before we get more Mickey drops or more Disney stuff, like before we get celebrities on board, before we like, there's literally 1,000 catalysts that can change the price of something. Like Ultra Rare Steamboat Willie could be 20,000 by the end of the year, or it could be 50,000. Like there's so many different things. Like there could be just a huge flood of Disney collectors that just join the app in the next 6 months and everything skyrockets. Or it might take them a while. There could be a trickle effect. It also depends on like if Disney actively promotes Veve, their collectibles, NFTs, they add utility. Like there's so many things that they could do to like just basically pump the price to crazy amounts. But I think a lot of it is on Veve as well as like Disney to make that happen. Voltrons are newer version 2, like Ultraman. That's why I didn't get them. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. Like I've heard of Voltron and all that stuff. Like I had the set for a while. I sold it for a profit, which was nice. But yeah, glad I don't have the set anymore. Let's just say that. James Cooper, if I had 500 gems right now to spend on Veve with the intention of holding for 69 months to flip for profit, what do you buy? So 69 months, you know, longish. That's like a medium term hold. 500 gems. Again, I think I would just go for stacking. Like as much as I want to just like find that perfect 400 to 500 gem NFT and you just sit on it. I think for you, just in case you do need to sell a bit sooner or something comes up, I think stacking could serve you pretty well. If that's all you have to stack is 500. If I literally had nothing but 500 gems, I'd spend 400 and save 100 for drops. So if I have 400 gems, I would buy, I'm trying to think like what's the most, I would buy, trying to look at my little, trying to think like what would grow more. Trying to debate like Deadpool's, Alligator Loki's, Storm. Because 6 months, 9 months is quite a while. I think like you can't go wrong with any of them. I'd probably go with Deadpool just because I do think there's more bullish information. There's also a movie coming out about Storm 2, I believe. Black Panther or something related, not entirely sure. But like any combination of like Alligator Loki's, Deadpool Uncommons, Storms, Alligator, what I mean Alligator Loki's, I mean the commons, and Deadpool's. It's probably what I would invest in. I'm sure there's some comics in there that were like, I might have to rethink just because I do think comics could do really, really well. Like picking up some rare comics because I think that Master Collector Program hype is happening. And like those could go up to like 90 to 100 gems. Like those things could like go up 50% in like the near future. Even then, I think I would still get Alligator Loki because common Alligator Loki is like the same price point as those. But who knows? I think any combination of that, rare comics that are the cheapest just for Master Collector points, because like those will naturally just raise up. People want to collect Master Collector points. Uncommon Deadpool, common Alligator Loki, and then probably common Storm, I think, for 500. Like any combination of whatever you want to do with that is probably good. It's, you know, we would be splitting hairs if we're talking about like which combination of that. Ultraman posters worth getting. How much have they dropped? Probably the two things I'm like honestly least bullish about, or like I'm probably more bearish on those. I kind of follow Randy Chavez's thought of like people want characters and people rather than things. So like I think that's part of the reason why like 007 stuff is just terrible. Like it's mostly things, but also like the things just aren't cool. Like I wanted an Aston Martin, I wanted a cool spy gun or a cool watch or a pen or whatever it is. Like I wanted that stuff, not posters and weird memorabilia that's like in the 007 series. Like I don't know, that's why I think the 007 series is probably one of the biggest flops like on the Veve app. Other than the ticket is just propped up by its exclusively it's exclusive, that it's only 7 tickets. That's the only thing that's carrying it up right now. Not very bullish on the posters, to be honest. And like I said before, Ultraman, you're relying on, you know, Chinese government, like the NFT like legalization. When is that going to happen? Localization on Veve. It's not like technically the first Ultraman. Like a lot of things kind of going against it, or like timeline stuff. Let's see. I'm in England, 5:50 a.m. here. Cool. Sorry, I might have skipped that earlier. Wild. And Joe M, that's a good question. Like, it's worth to know. Like that's just my perspective. You could ask another content creator or like another market person. They might say something entirely different about Ultraman, but that's just my perspective on it. Gasto, sub 500 UR Mickey for a Todd. What do you think? Thanks. I think you can maybe get a little bit more than a Todd for that. I assume that's what you mean. Like 500 is low. Sub 1000 like is very good, but it's not like with something that's only what? How many issues is Steamboat Willie? I would hope you would at least get almost an additional like 1,000 gems like afterward. I think I just put Mickey in there. Not too familiar with like how mints would work. Maybe I can look this up myself. Oh yeah, by the way, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's down in the description. And also, if you want to follow me, and I'm trying to do this follow thing more often on Veve as well. If you follow me on here, please work. Thank God. Does this work? Not limit. There we go. Or I'll pull this up. All right, it's right here. So if you guys go to the ultra rare Steamboat Willie all together now, you scroll down to everything's like 9.9 million. Mine's just for 9 million, so it should be like at the very bottom of the page. You might have to scroll down a bit. My name is right there, so VV Vibes. It's halfway down the page. That's kind of just reminded me, yes, about Steamboat Willie. So I own one. That's how you're gonna find me and add me. I really wish like Veve came up with like an infinitely easier way to like find people, but this is how it works. I should also like, part of me wants to be more consistent with my name, because like my in-app name is Veve Vibes, all one word. My YouTube name is Veve Vibes with the space, and then my Twitter is Veve Vibes with an underscore. Like literally everything is different. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and look at like the low mints here. This is, how much is a 500 mint Mickey going for? Like, what are the other ones surrounding it? That's my curiosity. So the other ones are going for... Okay, there's a... What was yours again? Just sub 500. So we're probably looking more in like the 400 range. 13.4. We got a 12.6. I mean, that's the asking price. Are they going for that much? Not really. These are not that much higher. These are like 25% above floor, I think. 30% above floor. It might not be bad. Like, I mean, the fact that you have like a sub 500 mint, I'm assuming it's between 400 and 500, which is why he says sub 500, not 400. And one for wanting for like a Todd. I don't think it's bad. Like at any moment, like Todd could run. Like maybe you have like an extra. Like again, these are asking prices too, right? If 12.6 isn't selling, that means it might be closer to like 11.5 or 12. I don't think that's a bad trade. Again, just my opinion. If it was closer to 200, sub 100 is in a league of its own. But sub 100 is like, okay, you can ask like 20% above floor, but it's not like you're doubling the price or anything like that. As you saw right there, we have ones that are only 1 or 2K above floor, like on Steamboat Willie, and it's not selling. Or 2 to 3K above floor, and it's still not selling. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna double time it through these questions because I'm getting a little bit tired. We're going up to some of my streams are between 2 to 4 hours. It just depends, but it is getting a little late here. And I do have somewhat of an early morning the next day, so I'm gonna double time it through these. So I apologize if I like don't answer your questions. So should I buy FA Joker on the dip? What do you recommend others? Joker's solid. I would recommend Steamboat Willie. If there's gonna be a dip, if John T. Jig ever gets to 850 again, like I would buy multiples personally. Not too long ago he was at 850. I kind of regret not buying like 4 of them at that point. because I mean he had a previous peak of 1,300. He had like an extra 500 gems to move. And I'm very bullish on Steamboat Willie, so FA Joker is solid, but I do think if there is a dip and like Steamboat goes below like 900 again, like I would buy multiples if you can. That's just me personally. Like FA Joker has a lot of room to move too, and I know I'll have to make a video about the 8.5% fee, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to buy like Disney or Marvel because it has an 8.5% fee, but the DC stuff has a 2.5% fee. I'll have to wait 5% to make profit, but for Disney I have to wait like 10%. That's also the reason why it runs really well. Like the question is, will Steamboat Willie be 6% higher than FA Joker, or, you know, an equivalent price or whatever? And usually it does. Usually it runs much higher than that, I've noticed. So I used to stick with DC, but because the 2.5% fee, people are more likely to flip. So it has to work harder to work the price up, because there's people flipping. They're like, all right, cool, I'm in the profit margin, I'm up 150 gems, I'm gonna sell it, you know? And they just sell it right there. So you just have to go through more barriers, but like people just tend to hold with DC and Marvel, and so it does run up faster, in my opinion, that I've noticed. And it does make up that 6% pretty consistently. I'll have to make a video on it. I'm trying to find a way to like compile proof and all that stuff potentially, but that's the experience I've had too. I used to almost exclusively avoid DC and Marvel, not Disney and Marvel for a while, but ever since then, like when I'm just buying, when I literally bought Rare Spider-Man and FA Joker 3 days ago, 2 days ago, they're both 1,600. Joker went down, Spider-Man's up 250. And of course, that could be for a multitude of factors, but that tends to be the thing, especially Spider-Man stuff. Like if there is a dip, go for Rare Spider-Man first, because that's kind of like a similar price point as FA Joker. But if like John T. Jig does go down to like below 900, like just pick it up. That's my recommendation, Sebastian. Sorry, I need to remember to like read people's names. I skipped over Shankster's question. Shankster the Third, what's up, dude? Do you think Homer and Bart will grow in value due to it being the first ever Disney license drop? Yes, not as much as that, like the very first, I'm trying to remember what it was, but someone had a good quote. It was like, there's a difference between like the first like promotional drop, first license drop, first like, because I think they said like technically Steamboat Willie is like the very first like Disney, I don't know the term, Disney Direct drop or whatever. It's like directly translated to like the Disney IP, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. It's something along those lines. Like it's a bit of a nuance, like yes and no. But then again, like when people think of Homer and Bart, they don't think Disney. They just happen to own the license, but I don't think it's I'm not sure if that's going to translate well or not. But then again, I'm not a collector. I'm not sure that's going to make a huge deal or not. I think people are more tied to like recognizable characters, or just, you know, characters that are directly on like the Disney IP and stuff that you see like in the movies and shows, rather than like, oh, Disney now owns Star Wars, and like when I think of this, I think of Disney. Like it's unlikely, at least in my opinion. Okay, let's see here. Wild says, dude, about drops, I'm the same. I'm literally never gonna drop at home, and the ping is way faster. I'll never hit the, oops, forgot to like turn that off. Yeah, 5G, okay. Bollywood Bangers, hey brother, great channel, love what you're doing. So a few things I'm really confused about. First is, what the hell is going on with Lucky? Is that never ever going to go back to its prime? And lastly, what's the best price for a sub 50 mint ultra rare DeLorean? Ooh, sub 50 mint. We know what the previous ones have gone for. We would have to look in the app. I can pull that up again real quick. Just give me a sec. But the first question, like, what's going on with the Lucky? Lucky is, again, I think a lot of people were just banking on the airdrop that the okay, so like for some reason I was thinking like the Yucky Charmer and stuff. For some reason, I'm not sure, was this an airdrop? Like I wasn't here when the whole Jermaine Rogers, like that whole series dropped, so not entirely certain. Like I'm not familiar with the history of this, but if this was part of an airdrop, Was this part of an airdrop or not really? I don't remember. If it was, then I think most of the time I've noticed airdrops plummet very quickly because I think no people are going to sell them off, and like typically it's just a reskin of like an NFT that already exists, and all the like surrounding NFTs around it just like plummet as well, because now the utility, like that's what happened with serial killers, like the Yucky Charmer and like the Tricky NFTs, like the utility of having the set is now gone, or it already exists now. So people just sell it off at that point. Like, I want to land the secret rare. Okay, I did or I didn't. If I did, I'm going to sell it and just cash in what I can and get rid of it. And like the utility of that NFT is now gone. I'm dropping everything. That's kind of what I think happened. I could be completely wrong, but with the Lucky Jermaine Rogers, I'm not entirely certain. I think it was an airdrop. I could be wrong, but if it is, like, I'm not having great feelings about picking this up. Like, it's doing nothing but a downward trend. The listings have done nothing but go up. Now, could this be something that does well in the like Immutable X? Possibly. Maybe as we get closer, we could see the Jermaine Rogers, Ron English, like those NFTs do well off platform, because those are actually by like well-known artists. So, not entirely certain. For 1,800 gems, I think you're better off Rare Spider-Man, FA Joker, Steamboat Willie, a handful of other stuff. So again, I want to do more research and try and find things that like hell, like you can get like a Silver Ape and something else. Like trying to find a way to like recommend things occasionally that aren't Marvel, DC, and Disney, and also try and find some good NFTs in that price point between like, for 300 there's like Spider-Man, but just in general, just like 300 to like 700. Trying to find some good NFTs like in that range, because in that range, like when you get that low, like when you get to 500, like, all right, do we stack, or are we just trying to get one NFT? My thoughts is stacking, but until I find an NFT that changes my mind, like that's kind of where my thoughts at. Like I think that's the perfect space where comics could come in, but I'm not very knowledgeable enough about comics. Best price for the 50 mint ultra rare DeLorean. I would just look at the surrounding prices for it, to be honest. Not that familiar. Holy crap. Got 11 new people following me. That's awesome. I'm also trying a thing where I do actually if I release a new video and you don't catch it on YouTube, I'll sometimes put up a feed post. I'll take a picture of like the actual thumbnail and all that stuff with like with one of my NFTs of AR like next to it, which I think is pretty cool. Let's see. You said, what was it? DeLorean, right? Okay. Looking at the hoverboards for a second. So, ultra rare DeLorean. My camera's gone? Hello. How long was my camera gone? Was I just talking into the ether and nothing happening? Good thing you guys didn't see me picking my nose. So you said what? Sub 500? Sub 50? Do you own one? Because if you did, that'd be absurd. Best price for a sub 50 mint ultra rare DeLorean. Do we know what the previous price is going? You can't look up specific mint numbers on this. This is always floor price. Like this market thing is always floor price. So if you're trying to use it to like estimate the price of like low mints, it's not going to work. A sub 50 mint, the cheapest one is 30K, and there's a 46 and a 45. So personally, I would think there's a lot of other NFTs to invest in at 30K, like Todd's and ultra rare Spider-Mans and stuff like that, in my personal opinion. So not this one, this one. So yeah, I mean, that's the price. Like, you can't see the history on this. Have a good night, vibes. I appreciate your thoughts, and you're definitely an underrated YouTuber. You deserve way more attention. I look forward to talking to you soon. I hope so too. I think what's going to help me like not break out, like I want to help people, but then again, collaborating with other YouTubers that do have a bigger following will definitely help as well, because I do think I would hope I'm doing good work, and it seems like I am, but of course the growth is slow and steady when it comes to YouTube, especially when you already have a pretty decent handful of like established YouTubers that everyone kind of flocks to. But all I do is just keep making content, and eventually I do want a day to come when I can do this full time. And I do think the NFT space is totally untapped and like a lot of room to grow, especially since I'm kind of in a space where I'm trying to help people grow their portfolio, find some good recommendations and all that stuff. Not a lot of other YouTubers can do that, and it's nothing against them. Like, some of them were just so early on the app, all they do is stack, you know, high-end Spider-Mans, Todds, like they have the grails and they don't need to like dig through the dirt of like all the NFTs below 1,000 gems, and like which is a good deal and what should I flip, and like, you know, there's a lot of new people coming on the app, so they got to turn to somewhere. They need to learn how to play the secondary market, because this is all it's going to be nothing but this eventually. It's going to be nothing but secondary market stuff. So if you can learn it now before the queue system happens, that's going to be your best bet. JP, talk about Green Ghost Bear and check out the artists and talk about the causes. It's too much to dig into. Not pun intended, I'm not very bearish on the Ghost Bears, but that sounds like too much to talk about at this time. Sorry. AR Bollywood Bangers, JP, the Green Ghostbuster is so slept on. I've got 6 together now. I need 4 more, at least 10 hodl. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll look at it maybe at some point. Maybe if you guys comment in my most recent video and just remind me, just say Green Ghost Bear, or like, don't sleep on Green Ghost Bear, something like that. Like, I'll remember. But right now, like, it's 11:15 at night. Mason Fuzzy, do you see the market going down more from what it is now? Yeah, like a bear market. All right, I think you meant bear, like Ghost Bear. It entirely hinges on the mini drop. Like I said, if it's a solo drop and it's like a card or whatever, not maybe a very tiny dip, if not plateau. If it's a blind box drop with multiple rarities and it's just mini and there's secret rares and stuff involved and ultra rares, like there's definitely going to be a dip. And if it's multiple FAs and like a blind box format or multiple day announcement, definitely expect a dip, like a pretty heavy dip. Nothing like golden moments, but maybe something similar to like 12 days of VV. Maybe, I don't know. Brandon F, thoughts on uncommon Spider-Man? Talking about Ben Riley, or are we talking about the upside down one? Ben Riley, I'm assuming you mean hanging out at 850. Question is, do you get the common or uncommon? I mean, it's solid. Goes up to 1100. The common, I think, has gone much higher though, I believe, right? Didn't it go up to like 1200 at one point? 1500? Yeah, I would say, I mean, just for the fact this is happening in like the Amazing Spider-Man, it's on the loading screen. You'll see it occasionally on like the VV app. Like it's incredibly iconic, and I think this is the NFT that actually kicked off the kind of a common / FA craze, because it's like, dude, this is the thing that's on the loading screen, like, and it's gonna be there probably forever on VV. I think like even just, you can maybe never even go wrong with just owning the collectibles that are like on the loading screen. They're like, well, you own the collectible that's on the loading screen. You know, you own the Batman Who Laughs. You own you know, the common Spider-Man. Like, that's going to be a big deal. So I would say pay the extra 75 gems, get the Amazing Spider-Man, because this thing has peaked at 1400 before, while this thing has struggled to get to wherever it was before. Now, if we're talking Ben Riley, let's see Ben Riley. It's a bit cheaper. He's done pretty well for himself. I think he's obviously very carried by the fact that he has like very low mints. I do like the art on. I should probably pop this out so you guys see what the heck I'm talking about. This was the common Spidey I was talking about, where he's kind of like down in that stance with his hand out. That one, hanging out upside down. Like, it's, again, none of these are bad. I just think the highest potential one is going to be the common. Ben Riley, I do like the look. Of course, like the blue's a bit darker, and like the chest detail is like different than like the normal Spider-Man, but I do like the look of this, and plus I just love how like crazy athletic and like flexible and mobile he looks compared to like the other ones as well. I think both of these are solid. Like, if you legitimately just cannot afford the common, okay, get Ben Riley. But like, do what you can to try and get the common, in my opinion. Okay, already covered that. Already covered that. Bringers, yeah, stack up as much as you can. Got a 200, we'll ship to 1K, jump to 5K, then the moon, yeah. Possibly. Ilmatics just followed you on Veve Gang? Hell yeah. Jason Cooper, thanks for you taking my question. I was considering collecting all the Eternals mints for 500. Don't see much growth on them. Thanks for the input. Yeah, of course. I mean, we can pull up the Eternals really quick. Like, again, I don't think those are like terrible investments. It's running like the Marvel Mighties, right? But, like, I think that's probably the best way to go if you want a good middle ground between like actually getting master collector points as well as like getting a set and, you know, having some stuff go up. But yeah, I'm just not very bullish on like the Eternals. Other than like Ajax like pumped pretty well, but I think she's kind of plateauing at this point. Yeah, like she had a pretty crazy pump. I do think the Marvel Mighties hype might be dying out a bit. People talked about like, oh my god, there's gonna be a fighting game, but like, who knows how far along the VVverse is. In my opinion, I think it might be just a slightly glorified version of like VR chat, where like, all right, like it's just gonna be a glorified showroom initially. I think like there might be a handful of like very simplistic like mini games you can play with friends. Maybe you can have your avatar be like an NFT that like follows you around and like you are the NFT. You have a showroom, but like that could be it. Like I just, it's hard to imagine like heavy integration of like NFTs and mini games and abilities and renting and flying and like all this crazy stuff like in the VVverse, unless Niantic has been working on it for 3 years. But even then, like 5 years developing a game like that or like a VR game would still take a concerted effort to do. But I'm glad I could help James Cooper. Yeah. So, and again, don't take my recommendation as just like law or like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe bounce it off some other people that you trust in the community or like close friends that have done very well in the app. Like, don't just take what I say and just run with it. Like always, I think you should cross-reference with some people. And then again, don't let them talk you out of it either, right? I've had some friends or kind of talk me into or out of things that I didn't want to. And I kind of thought about it. And one time I fell for it, another time I didn't. And end up kind of working in my favor. But hit that like button. 51 are here. True, dude. 51? Hell yeah. Sneakerhead game. If everyone hold from now on, then all the new users from February to June would have to buy what's left all out and shoot the 10K. True. Like if we could organize the 1.5 million people to all be on the same page and not take profits and hodl, you know, diamond hands, you know, exactly like the GameStop AMC thing, you know, we just, it's funny because like as much as people say like, oh, because, you know, diamond hand gang or gorilla gang, like at the end of the day, people are still just going to take profits. People are going to do what's in their best interest, which is fine. Like the NFT market is a free market. Like do and say what you want. If I want to pump my NFTs, I can. I could just be like, oh, go buy You Are Steamboat Willie, like whatever. Like that's what I only own one, but I don't even know where I was going with that. But yeah, it's like, if you can organize that many people, I'll be impressed. But between now and then, like people are always going to look out for themselves, which I think is fine, as long as it's a consensual transaction and there's not scamming, and if people understand the risks of doing certain trades, then sure. AEW, if Homer and Bart goes down, I'll buy it over many other things. It's up to you. You can't go wrong with the golden moment. Do I think other NFTs could be more profitable? Yes, but then again, you never know. I might say, okay, buy an FA Joker, and you'd buy that when Homer dips. Maybe short-term Joker does better, but 4 months from now, Disney adds some crazy utility or something to the golden moments, and it just pumps like no other. So you never know what's going to happen. Could you analyze Batman 89? That was one of my favorite NFTs, and it still is. Like, I love the look. I think it was just so heavily artificially pumped. It was definitely part of the like pump of like Batgirl, Wonder Woman, not Wonder Woman, Catwoman, what's it called? Zombie Hunter, Spider-Man. It was all during that pump, but you can see there's some pretty heavy retracement going, like lots of people taking profits. I do know that this was heavily encouraged by some influencers on like Twitter and stuff, like let's pump this like really hard. And this thing, yeah, this thing did skyrocket. I could have sworn this thing went up to like 700, maybe 800 at one point. I could be wrong. But yeah, this just feels so artificial, and which is why it's petering out. So like, I mean, you have people between, yeah, I mean, you got a lot of people between here and there that are just looking like, because it's not like, oh, there's between 230 and 176. So what's the difference of what, 60 listings? It doesn't mean 60 people between now and here are like reselling their stuff. Like you have a ton of people the last 3, 4, 5 months or however long Batman has been around, number 89 has been around, that are all waiting to take profit. And like probably right when it hit 200, everyone's like, and this thing happened like overnight or like within like 12 hours. So once everyone realized it, that's how you got everyone coming out of the woodwork, literally hitting, and I don't count the golden moment pump or listing stuff, whatever the hell that was, hitting an all-time high of listings. Like, so is it a good time to buy? I don't think so personally. I kind of wish I kept one, because that is probably one of my favorite NFTs, but because I sold them when they were at like 250, like when they kind of started like, or 200, when it started like plateauing here, I'm like, all right, it's got to be done, and it just pumped again. Praise and worship. Do you think Givenchy pieces will return to their highs? Amelia and the other queen one. Where do you see the Batman Croc statue going in value in the future? Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna get stuck here like all night unless I kind of hurry through. The Givenchy posters and stuff, I think will do extremely well off platform. I think people in the Veve community, and like this could be an interesting video as well, as like I do think the Veve just like community and the app and stuff like that, like everyone's like very gung-ho about like DC, Disney, and Marvel. Like they're just bullying out, it seems like, all the other NFTs that are like independent artists, like Givenchy, Adventure Time, or Macornos. Like they're just, you know, serial killers. Like it feels like they're all just kind of getting bullied out because like everyone wants the recognizable characters, their established IPs, it's independent artist stuff. Like, okay, but like comparing it to these IPs, like, yeah, I think they would do better on OpenSea or just off platform, because I do see because I do see those just doing better. Like OpenSea is, people are used to just paying absurd amounts of money for 2D art from a no-namer artist, but like off platform with actually established artists that are well known, they could do very well. And as for the battle statue, holy crap, getting a raid. Kobe collects raid. What's up, dude? I was actually about to head off soon. I could maybe hang around for a bit longer because of the raid, so I really appreciate that, dude. But Kobe collects, you're awesome, man. I really appreciate that. Batman Croc statue in the future. I've heard of like a lot of bullish information potentially about the Batman and like Croc statue, but it seems a bit more like nuanced about like the artist and like limited number of like the physical statues and stuff, like potentially, but not really. My thoughts with 700 gems would be Final Fantasy 1 about 200, Final Fantasy Fantastic Four 200 ASM 2 exactly. So it sounds like not financial advice. Yeah, Brandon. I know very lit, like I know what the grails are of comics, but like all the mid-tier and lower tier stuff that could be like good pickups like that. Like, I mean, Fantastic Four #1, like those are grail comics, but I don't know if enough about them. It's just with comics, it just seems like it's a slow burn, then a big pump, then a slow burn for a long time. There's not a lot of margin to be had. I could be completely wrong though, so that's why I say, you know, ask around for tips, not just don't take my advice. What is the queue system? So queue system is just essentially, Veve's already said they're going to be doing this, but at some point in the future, when they do a drop, instead of 3, 2, 1, 0, you click on it and whoever gets it gets it, with the fastest internet. And that's the thing too, it's like when you lose a drop, you don't know why. Is it because I had slow internet? Was I slow on tapping? Like I've watched live streams of some streamers or just content creators like tap the thing and it just seems obviously slower than what I do it. Like I'm pretty quick about it, and like I still never get it, but yet they win. And like it'll say buy button for like a quarter of a second, then they click on it and they still win. I'm like, what is going on? Like there's nothing that tells you like why you won or why you lost or anything. Like, so the queue system is just essentially, I think they said like 5 minutes before the drop, there's just a opt-in button. You just tap it, you're in the queue. You and at this point probably millions of other people are going to be going for the drop. Only so many are going to get it. So that's pretty much it. You wait till the time runs out, you get it. If you do, you don't, cool. Then you have to play the secondary market, which is why I think understanding this information is going to be extremely important for you guys. So Where do you see the ultra rare Spider-Man going? I haven't looked into that one too much, just because again, it's so highly priced. Like, I do think it's kind of working its way. I don't think it's a grail yet. It's an extremely high tier, like high A tier comic. It's right on that cusp. I don't think it's going to follow exactly in conjunction with like how well Secret Rare does. So it doesn't mean like, oh, Secret Rare goes up to 150. That means that the ultra rare is going to go up to 20. Like, I think those formulas, like people that come up with those formulas will eventually fall apart, because the highest tier stuff is just in a league of its own. I think it'll do great. Like, I mean, it's peaked at 1300 before. I mean, obviously there's people taking profits, but if you're going to hold long term, like, you literally cannot go wrong with Spider-Man, in my personal opinion. So I think it's great. Is the web of Spider-Man comics is going to go down? More thinking of mine. Again, I'm not entirely certain about comics. Like, I wish I could help you out, dude. But comics and crypto, as well as I was going to say David you, but no, sleeping with comics is the guys you want to check out if you haven't already. Brandon F, I have Storm Uncommon, mint 206. Thoughts and price estimate around Black Panther 2 time. You would have to look up the mints. I would pull it up on my phone, but again, I'm trying to like wind down the stream. I could do it really, really quick for you, just because I'm a little curious myself where like a low mint storm would be. So go to X-Men. So pull up X-Men, and you said what? A common? Uncommon. Of course, uncommon is down here. Uncommon storm, and you said what? What kind of mint? 206. Lowish. Of course, like the grail is like getting below 100, but let's see where the other ones are going for. Of course, Mr. Pag's there at the top. We're close to the top. It seems like a lot of people. So there's a sub 200 going for 269. That's gonna be like your biggest competition. There's a 100 going for 340. Like, those are your biggest competition. There's a 226 going for 260. So yeah, at 20, like if you wanted to like sell it quickly, you would have to go like low 200s. I would say like low 200s if you wanted to sell it quickly, maybe even sub 200 if you're like really trying to get rid of it. I personally don't like, we might see this. I think people heavily rely too much on like the movies to like, is this gonna just go up 40%? Unlikely. I think it's gonna be a lot like the Spider-Man, where when the newest Spider-Man movie, people thought like all the Spider-Mans were gonna pump, which they did briefly, but it was like a month before the movie came out. And then like when there was 2 weeks before the movie actually aired, like people were already selling off and taking profit at that point. So I would say like, if you're curious ever about mint numbers, like look at the surrounding mint numbers, even like a little bit below, look at a bit above, because there are some people that might settle for like a high 200 rather than like your low 200, right? If the price difference makes that much, if the price is that much of a difference, then yeah. Sorry if I'm kind of like slurring my words. I'm a little tired, but I hope that helped, dude. Kobe kind of like catching up with chat. Okay, so yeah, Kobe collects raid. Okay, we're going through all the raid stuff now. Collects raid. Happy Tuesday. Kobe sent me collects raid. I appreciate it, guys. Kobe collects raid. Hope you're having a great night. I am. I'm a little tired. I've been streaming for 3 hours now. And half an hour ago, I said I was going to get off in 10 minutes, and then Kobe collects shows up and makes my night even better. So I appreciate that. We vibe with Veve vibes. Gutterfly. Hashtag Kobe collects raid. I appreciate it. Let's go Veve vibes. Yep. Make sure you guys hit that like and sub. I appreciate it. Feeling the vibe over here. Like and sub. Dude, I appreciate it. My channel's just blowing up. Ever since I advertised on, what's it called? Randy Chavez's wall. I like the FA wall investor. I'm the only one on the wall. I've been trying to be more active in the community and stuff, and I feel like I've been doing some, I would hope I'm doing some good work and providing valuable information to you guys. So yeah, check out the videos. My 2 most recent videos was like, basically villains are underrated. And then I think the most recent one I did was that NFTs that are hit hardest during a dip. You guys should check those out. I'm also trying to work on like making my videos a bit shorter. I know some of my videos are like a bit long-winded, but I think my last couple ones are like under 8 minutes or something, which is I think a good sized video. But some people like the longer version videos as well. So yeah, I'd love to collab sometime with like Kobe Collects, other people. You know, it's just going to take time and, you know, finding a right schedule and stuff. Like I've talked to Andrew Ellis a couple times, but as well as Randy and as well. But like, collaborating can be difficult, especially with just how crazy the market is. I know people have real jobs, but also like there's always something crazy happening on Veve or just the market in general, like every 8 hours. So it's hard to like sit down and hash stuff out, right? So my power actually went out during the killer croc drop. Oof, that's rough. It happens. Speed of Gutterfly. Yo, that's crazy. Crypto is poo. My phone doesn't have good internet. I'm sure you're a professional stamp enthusiast though, right? All day. Alex, I love to see screenshot NFTs. Yeah, dude, don't save this. Don't, it's illegal. Don't save my NFT. Don't save that. You think it's, you guys ever see that video? The guy's like, he's like, you think it's funny to screenshot my NFT? I own it. I own the number, like the blockchain number or whatever, but I forgot his name, but it's some funny like video or some meme I watched a while back. Zach of all trades, what's the story behind Zombie Hunter Spider-Man? Not entirely certain. I know he made an appearance in like the most recent movie. Basically, he's wearing Doctor Strange's cape for the most part. So I don't know if that makes him unique. Again, I'm still not entirely sure how 100% with like 100% certainty how Veve does FAs versus first edition and stuff. Like how they actually, what's the criteria for them like fulfilling that? Is it just Veve or is it like Veve and the licensor and like I don't know. Not exactly sure how they do that. Jay Hotaru, I apologize if I completely butchered that. Alex lost on the concept or trolling? Okay. Kobe Collect selling all my NFTs and buying Alex stock. Let's go, Alex. I dig it. Drew, take a screenshot to the bank. Yeah, dude, that's what we gotta do. Just take a screenshot of Ultra Spider-Man and then take it to the bank. Tell me you want to withdraw some Doge and like you're set. That's how you make money these days. I heard that's gonna moon. Yeah, Kobe Collects. We love Alex. Yeah. It's Lauren Natasha bitch LS4D. Okay. Wait, all I gotta do is screenshot to own an NFT. Smart idea. Yep. Veve Shaman, Kobe Collects. I'm gonna stream to the Nerd Shaman account just for a bit to say hi. Veve Vibes is awesome. Watch a bunch of his stuff. Very helpful. I appreciate that. My whole shtick is being able to read the market, finding NFTs for like the everyday investor because not everyone can afford Todd or some of the, like the higher tier golden moments or any of that stuff. So I'm trying to find ways to help people invest and like find good NFTs for 100 gems, 500 gems, 1,000, 1,500, 10,000 gems, whatever. You know, so that's kind of where I'm sitting at. I do think like there's a lot of amazing. Oh my god, I think it's because I got an ad going. No, I think that might be the sign to go because that was a 3 hour and 15-minute YouTube video with all that music. Yeah, so that's kind of where I feel like I'm sitting at. Brandon F, first time here, loved your feedback, liked and subbed, awesome, thank you, dude. Love the Doctor Strange cape. Brandon F, Zombie Hunter Spider-Man. Came from What If series. True, yeah, that's what it was. What If series on Disney Plus. Gutterfly, I'm buying all call options on your channel. Awesome, thank you. Drew, opinions on Uncommon Coke and Uncommon Deadpool. Personally, I think they are due for an explosion. I'm very bullish on the uncommon versions of both of those. Especially, it sucks 2 days ago, like all of the Coke NFTs were like sub 200 gems. Let's go ahead and pull one up right now. Snow globe. I'm definitely going to be getting off in like less than 5 minutes because snow globe. Yeah, all these were super cheap and like literally the uncommon was like 110 and both of these were like just shy of, were like just below 200. I'm like, I think you're better off just getting 2 uncommons because like there was a point where this was up 40, but this was up like 35. I'm like, all right, if you bought 2 uncommons, now you're up 70 gems versus the 40 here. So that's why I think in the realm of like stacking, people are like, oh, what's a good NFT for 500 gems, 600 gems? I'm like, I think you might be better off with just stacking, like just stack snow globes, stack like maybe Groots, but I do like the idea of kind of like a small spreadsheet here. Deadpool, Common Alligator Loki is another solid stack. And again, like I said before, I'm not like trying to shill for Randy Chavez. And don't mind my vault if you see it. Like it's not up to date. It's old. I kind of got tired of updating it, and Plus, it was just kind of like people just talk about, oh, that's a lot of money, or that's not a lot of money, or like what, whatever. It's just let's see here. Alligator, what the hell? Why is it not? Alligator, common alligator Loki. It's already up to 83. This was at like 75, 80, not too long ago, or is that 80? But yeah, this thing has definitely peaked at 130 at one point. So it still has like another 50 gems to go to reach its previous peak. It's going to take some work to get there. Because right now people are just kind of waiting on like the Minnie Mouse announcement and like what's going to happen with that. So I think this is another solid stack. Undead Deadpool. Like I love all those NFTs, and especially since if you have the uncommon and the common variant starts running, now you have another thing to kind of like pull the price up as well, right? So it's not just the NFT itself, it's also there's another NFT that's kind of attached to it that like if it starts running, it starts taking itself up with it, right? I personally think they're due for an explosion. Yeah, I don't think they'll like explode and like overtake commons anytime soon. I do think a day will come, especially like Deadpool, where his common stance is like this, where he's like kind of doing a silly pose. Like I think more people are gonna like the thumbs up pose than the other one. I think it kind of depends on the pose a bit, because eventually, like, what's the big difference between 17,000 mints of the common and 11,000 mints of the uncommon? Like, when there's 4 million people on the app, like it doesn't matter at the end of the day, like how many mints a certain thing has. It might, but call options for the KV vibes. I love your lighting. Looks really great against the ecomi wiki. Thanks, dude. It's hard to do this every time. Either I have to do it late at night, or if I do it during the day, I literally have to put up like a folded bed sheet or like a blanket to like block out the sun. I close my window. I have the fan on. I can sometimes get hot in here with like my computer and everything. So I do what I can to like make it look cool in here. I don't have like a super fancy setup with like a ring light and a cool background. And I mean, I guess it is a cool background, but I don't have like a bunch of like rated comics and like collectibles and stuff like that. Like I'm just your normal dude. Same dude, sleepers, yeah. Thoughts on ASM 252 rare? I can't really tell you about comics. If you caught me at the beginning of my stream, I'd probably be more than happy to help you, but I'm getting pretty tired, so sorry. Deadpool and Moon, I could see that. Love that Gator, yes. Toss me a sniper. FA of Spider-Man with the cape is FA. Spider-Man that is in the What If series. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's under the What If, like, what do you call it? Like series or whatever, like you said. Or like the category, whatever you want to call it, under that brands. Toss me a sniper. I typed that like 20 minutes ago and forgot to hit send. I appreciate it, dude. Whatever you're doing with the set, great work, nice and clean. I appreciate it, dude. I try to, but sometimes during the day I just let the windows open, like the background is just like blank white. But I think I like letting some light in occasionally. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm pretty tired right now, but I appreciate everyone showing up. I got hosted or /rated twice today, which is awesome. So I really appreciate it. Is there like anyone else on right now that I could like host potentially? Probably unlikely. This is a really weird time zone. It's like extremely early in like the UK, but also like late in the US. So it's probably unlikely someone else is streaming right now, because I'd love to share the love if I can. But yeah, like if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, that's down in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you go here, thought I had it up earlier. If you guys want to follow me, and I'm trying to do this like whole follower, like follow me more. I actually do post on the feed, probably like trying to do it like once a day, just post something on the feed on Veve. So if you go here, come on, work for me. Don't you guys hate it when this happens? When this happens? It says there's no collectibles to show, but there clearly is. Come on, Veve. And I have to like refresh the app or whatever. Like, long story short, if you go to the ultra rare Mickey, go down to 9 million. There's a lot of people at 9.9. If you go to 9 million and go to Veve Vibes, that's where you can find me. So I'll try and pull it up again really quick. And you guys know how to get there, but I just wanted to just at least show you guys. And either I'll just post something like, hey, how's your guys' day going? Or if you guys have any questions about, I don't know, anything on the app or anything like that, but also sometimes I'll actually do I'll upload a picture, like a feed, and I'll do AR I'll have like an NFT standing in front of like my computer screen, because you can't, as far as I know, you can't take pictures off of like your actual photos on your phone and like put them on your feed. You have to actually like take a photo in the Veve app through AR or some like weird thing. So that's essentially how I would do it. So sometimes I actually have like the thumbnail of like my recent video that's going to come out or that has already been out, and I'll just put it in the feed thing in case you guys haven't like seen it on YouTube or whatever. And there I am, Veve vibes, 9 mil for the altogether now ultra rare Mickey. So glad Kobe brought me here. You have great info. Appreciate it. Yeah, I know I hate it when that happens. Great night hanging out. Night, Kobe. Night, everyone. Dude, I really appreciate it. Hope you guys take care. Have a nice night, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. I might stream tomorrow. We'll see. But if not, you guys take care.